Movement. Yes, indeed. A very good evening to all of you and a very warm welcome to the Economic Times Best Brands of 2020. I'm your host, Isha Bhalla, celebrating a series of brand of excellence. In today's contemporary digitized economy, consumers are very well informed, and with being better informed, brand name registers with them so much more. They believe in truly interacting with brands that they prefer because today an acquirement stays with them much longer. But that means it's a tougher job for those at the back end. Yes, the brand managers today really need to create that identity that resonates strongly with the end consumer. Brand managers are challenged to come up with those emotional connects to make sure that the continuity of their span lies with the consumer, which is why today is going to be all about acknowledging those who've created a name for themselves, brands that have really resonated and connected so very well with their consumers. And this is going to be an absolutely fantastic session where we will be bringing to you experts from the industry on various subjects. I'd now like to invite you to get to know more about our first session, which is on fresh branding. Change is the only constant. This session will be focusing on insights from the eyes of brand gurus who've been closely watching the trends as they have been changing and so much more. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Ashish Bhasin, CEO APAC and Chairman India, Densuegas Network, and to moderate the session, a warm welcome to Mr. Gaurav Laghate, Chief Reporter, Media and Advertising, The Economic Times. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, Isha.
Thank you, Isha, and a hearty welcome to all our viewers to this fireside chat with Mr. Ashish Bhasin. Ashish is one of the top media agency executives in South Asia. He's chairman of Densu India and chief executive of Asia Pacific. And I especially enjoy talking to Ashish every time because he's a man who doesn't mince his word and call a spade a spade. So thank you, Ashish, for joining us.
My pleasure.
Quickly diving in the conversation. I mean, today is a big day for your company also. Globally, you have shed ages from the brand name. And is it a sudden move or has it been in the works for some time?
No, I think it was in the works for a while. It's not the shedding of the Aegis name, it is getting into one Densu, because I really believe we have an opportunity as a company to be very different from any other holding companies. In fact, I would like to see ourselves, and we would like to see ourselves more as a teaming platform rather than a holding company, and create as little silos. I've been a big believer of one P&L and everything coming under one, and simplification. I think the time has now come for the industry to look that way. And this is a good step because it will get our clients and our people to have access to the entire company, irrespective of where you are, through one teaming platform. So we're very positive and very excited about this.
Okay. So coming to pandemic, what kind of challenges or difficulties did the pandemic throw for brands and advertisers?
Well, I think it was something, to be honest, nobody was prepared for. You always do what if scenarios. You look at various, things that can go wrong. In hindsight, you can be smart, but I don't think anybody ever predicted or planned for a scenario where the whole world will virtually simultaneously shut down, and in such a way. And in India, particularly, as you know, the lockdown was one of the strictest and most severest in that sense. So brands were significantly impacted. Most of the efforts of advertising and marketing is all about generating demand. The issue that we faced during if you put yourself back into the months of April and May, the issue was not of demand, the issue was of supply. There was no supply possible because everything was shut, shops were shut, factories were shut, and nothing was there. So brands were faced with, other than of course for essential goods or FMCG food products and things like that. Now, brands were faced with a big sort of dilemma. One is that you're not. Why do you advertise? You advertise so that people come to your shops and buy it, right? But the shops
Right.
are all closed. So what's the point of advertising? On the other
True.
hand, you don't know how long this is going to go on. So if you're going to be out of the consumer's mind for a long period of time, are you eroding into the goodwill of your brand? And I think that probably was a question every marketeer worth his or her salt was sort of faced with and had to take decisions on. Some reacted by totally pulling off, because also you have to keep in mind the financial circumstances. At times like these, you have to conserve cash, and what's the point in getting footfalls to your shops when the shops themselves are not open? Others
Right.
said that we will continue, but at a smaller level, and others, like some of the FMCG, including Amul, etc., said that we will take it to a very different level and actually increase their spends in that sense.
Exactly. I mean, rightly, as you said, out of sight is out of mind. But Amul is a specific case. I mean, very interesting because while others were retracting, Amul went ahead and almost doubled its marketing spends. So, what do you think of Amul's strategy per se?
Well, I don't know whether they doubled or whatever, but they were very visible. And I think it was a good strategy because, for one, Amul is a very well-known brand almost in every part of India, and their products were one set of products that were not impacted. In fact, may have been maybe slightly positively impacted by the whole COVID situation, because these are daily consumption items and were classified as part of essential commodities, and therefore were open to manufacture, selling, distribution, etc., etc. I think they took advantage. It is also, see, actually that period was probably the best period from a pure effectivity point of view for advertising, because everybody was sitting at home. TV viewership was going up, digital consumption was going up, and
Right.
advertising, because very few people were advertising, was available at highly reduced rates. So you were getting high viewership at a lower rate. So
Hmm.
if you needed to advertise, it was a great time to advertise, and I think it was a good strategy for them to take advantage of that scenario, particularly because their goods were still being distributed.
Right. But did you think that other brands miss on this opportunity?
I don't think so. So look, you have to first of all prioritize, right? If you don't have if suddenly your entire revenue stream dries up, you have to first think of paying your salaries, paying your rents, paying your electricity bills, and clearly advertising would come lower in that priority. So if I'm a entrepreneur, I would think from that point of view. Also, the other bit is that in their case, the brand was being distributed, it was being sold, right? But for 95% of the cases, the brands weren't being sold and weren't being distributed. So what was the, many people would have thought that what is the point of advertising when, even if people want to buy that product, they can't, because everything was
Right.
just shut. So,
Right.
so I don't think it was wrong for people not to do so. I think it was a good opportunity that Amul took advantage of.
Okay. But will brand loyalty take a hit, or has it already taken a hit due to the pandemic?
I would like to ask you, what is brand loyalty? I think if you look at the graph of brand loyalty over the last few years, you will see that it is clearly on a decline, and it is now more in the minds of advertising agencies and marketing managers. As a consumer, just put on your consumer hat. Yes, there is an element. I'm being a bit flippant about it. So there is brand loyalty, of course, but today the number of options that are available to a consumer, the amount of information that you can get, the fact that through e-commerce the pricing that you can get on that, it's clearly testing every brand's loyalty, in a sense that every brand has to recreate its equation with the consumer in the new context, right? So I think that's the change that is happening, and to an extent, yes, COVID probably accelerated that whole process, because even when the opening up started, e-commerce started first before
Right.
retail. Even now, some of the retail vends are just opening or haven't fully opened. And when you're on e-commerce, the whole story, the whole creation of a relationship with consumer loyalty, etc., does undergo a very different lens.
Right, 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 right. Okay. So coming to digital now, as you said, e-commerce. So you have been a champion of digital media, but there has always been an issue of brand hygiene. We are seeing globally there have been boycott of Facebook. Do you think that India there will be similar kind of backlash in India also?
I think there is a bigger problem on digital, a bigger constraints to digital advertising in India than that. Yes, that is an important issue. I think the whole uh, digital, according to me, should be the most measured medium, right? You can find out everything about on digital in theory, but as an industry, we still haven't agreed to even the basic common metrics or a common currency. So, for example, right or wrong, there is an agreement that, let's say, the BARC is the measurement body for television
For
rating, or
television.
IRS is the body for print. We don't
Print.
yet have an agreement for digital, which should be the most measured medium. Somebody says, if you watched my 2 seconds, it's a view. Somebody says, no, you have to watch for 10 seconds, it's a view. So as the common metrics, the common sort of playing ground, the common currency, we yet haven't been able to arrive at that. And I think that, to me, is the biggest problem. The
Hmm.
other big problem in digital I foresee is this whole fake news bit,
Hmm.
the university of WhatsAppology, which has hit us very hard during the COVID period. And I think that's more than anything, it's not a marketing issue. I think it's a social issue, because I fear that, in a highly charged environment, and in a country like ours, which is so sentiment driven, wrong information, either accidentally or deliberately, can really divide people and divide communities and divide, and cause unnecessary reactions which shouldn't be. So I think one of the big challenges facing us is this whole, on digital, is false information or fake news. And I think the only solution to that actually can be technology.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. But coming to brand hygiene again, are we seeing a similar kind of issue on some genres of TV also?
I think you're referring to news, not some genres, but you're referring to news. Yes, I think there is a point of view that people have expressed on that. I think by and large, television is a far more regulated and a far cleaner medium, with much less issues of fake news than unregulated kind of use of digital and social media. So I don't think it's fair to compare both.
Hmm.
Uh, yes, television news today is getting very polarized, and clearly, if you see on your own personal Twitter timeline, or your Facebook timeline, your friends reaction of friends in WhatsApp groups or whatever, you can see that there's a pro and anti lobby for every channel, every anchor, etc. So it is getting very polarized. But
Right.
I don't think that's an area for marketeers to intervene in. I've also seen that people should not put advertising in certain channels, put advertising in other channels. I don't think that's the job of marketeers and advertisers. I think that
Hmm.
there are regulatory bodies who regulate television channels, and I think that is their job. I think marketeers have to follow the simple principle that advertising follows eyeballs. Where the consumer is going, provided it is legitimate, is and if it is a good environment for your brand, is where your advertising by and large should go. So
Hmm.
it's a very sensitive topic today in India, but I do believe there are sufficient regulatory bodies. I think they have to do their job and regulate if there is something that is not going right.
Okay. So when you spoke about fake news, a recent survey from one of the media insights firm suggested that print is the most credible news platform, followed by print and radio. And when it comes to digital, Twitter is actually the most actually credible, and Facebook and WhatsApp are just 29% in terms of the index credibility index. So in that sense, do you think that print should get a better advertising dollars?
I think I've always believed this, that print is a very strong medium, and everybody who's writing the the death knell or the eulogy for print, I think they're wrong in a country like India, because we have a lot of respect for the written word. And even today, I mean, during the pandemic, of course, print suffered because distribution was an issue in many places. But even today, I think it is very, very powerful. But what print does need to do is it needs to reinvent itself. You cannot be running a medium in 2020 and 2021 exactly as you were doing perhaps in 1820 and 1821, right? So it has to reinvent itself with times. You have to acknowledge that, well, television did it also to print. You have to acknowledge that news by itself, there are more sort of current means for a consumer to get news. It is through television, through digital, etc. But still, there is a huge role for print to play. So instead of trying to denigrate other media, I think print's focus should be that there is a place that I hold in the heart of the consumer. There are certain strengths that I hold as a medium, how do I exploit those the best? For example, the kind of analysis, the kind of rational arguments, the kind of connect. Print is a habit forming medium. I mean, uh, I don't get my newspaper, I'm racing up and down my passage 10 times, opening the door before the newspaper is delivered there, right? So there is a high level of engagement and credibility that the medium has with the consumer, but that doesn't mean that you don't reinvent yourself. And I feel in India, everything becomes one or the other. Should it be print or digital? I actually feel India is a market where it is not or, but and. The future has to be print and digital. It has to be TV and digital. It has to be TV and print, because we're a large enough country. We're large enough to be able to accommodate all the media. And hopefully, after this year, which is an exceptional year, we'll have a double-digit growing advertising market for many, many years to come. So therefore, I think print as a medium needs to play to its strengths, and it needs to definitely change with times very rapidly. Stop denying that digital exists and start adopting to those strengths and work in tandem with that. I would think that's what its strength should be.
Right. And you use the word death knell. I wanted to understand from you, will this pandemic be a death knell? You are saying not for print, but other traditional media, especially out of home and radio. I mean, out of home, I believe almost 30% of your business comes from out of home.
No, 30% of our business doesn't, but a large part of our business does. But we do have a 30% market share, 30% plus market share of the organized out of home market. And obviously, that is impacted quite severely during this period. But I don't think that is permanent. I think that is temporary. Once the normality is restored, people start moving out. Already, you can see traffic on the streets and so on and so forth. And with festive season, perhaps will be the start of that. There are going to be so many airports coming up in India, so many metros coming up in India, millions and millions of population that is going to move every day in and out. So yes, it's a setback, and that medium needs to do a hell of a lot, because again, measurement is a problem, credibility is a problem, but it's a medium that is built for India. I mean, look at the speed of our traffic, how much time you're stuck in traffic, right? So out of home is not a medium that's going to go away. And a lot of medium are impacted. Cinema, for example, is severely impacted, 100% impacted, because it is shut. The cinema halls are not open yet. But we are a country with a 100-year-old film industry history, Bollywood crazy. Do you think it's going to go away? Sooner than later, it will come back. It'll come back with a different shape, with a different bit. And I think, just like we were talking about print, every medium needs to evolve. For out of home, their biggest future actually lies in digital out of home. I mean, look at the kind of digital out of home that you see in rest of the world. We are such a digitally advanced country in terms of knowledge and depth. There's no reason why we shouldn't be replicating that at scale. So
True.
again, just like print, I think out of home as a medium has to evolve, as does cinema, etc. But like I mentioned before, in my view, it's not one medium or the other. It's one medium and the other. And I think we're in a happy situation, perhaps the only major advertising market in the world where actually all media can coexist. Of course, their rates of growth will be different. Digital will grow much faster. Television will probably grow next. Print will be slow. All of that. But there is space for every medium, simply because there are 1.35 billion of us, and 250, 300 million new consumers are going to come out of the poverty class into the consuming class over the next 3 to 5 years if all goes well.
Right. Great. So quickly, I think we have just 2 minutes left. So, from pandemic, what were the biggest learnings that you are getting and inculcating in Densu?
I think one of my learnings was that, so for example, I had never thought before this happened that in India, let's say we got 3,000 plus people, that all of a sudden 3,000 people could be working from home. In my region, in APAC, there are about 15,000 people. Almost overnight, with a few weeks gap, depending upon which country, almost overnight, everybody was working from home. So I had never thought that, if you had told me this in the month of January, I would have laughed at you and said it's impossible, right? But we did it. So there
Yeah.
is a new way of working. And I think one thing it has taught me is that you have to change. If you don't change, the world will make you change. So don't resist change, but embrace change on
Right.
that. And I think the second thing that quite clearly it has taught everybody is that you have to simplify, you have to become more efficient. And I think most organizations will be moving in that bit. And on a people front, I just feel that we keep talking about social distancing, but I think at times of social distancing, you need virtual proximity. So
Correct.
you need to communicate more and connect more with your teams and with your people, because everybody has anxiety. Will I have my job? Will my client stay? Will my business survive, etc.? And nobody has the answers. The truth is, a lot of people are pretending to be experts, but nobody knows on that. If we were that wise, then we should have predicted what is going to happen. Nobody knew it. So in those circumstances, I think the more you communicate, the more confidence your team gets, and I think that's the learning, that you communicate more than less.
Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ashish. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, Gaurav. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Ashish Pashin. Thank you, Gaurav. I think the two of you sort of really brought about the subject when it talks about fresh branding. Change is the only constant. And that's exactly what Mr. Bhasin mentioned, that don't resist change. It's really time for one to embrace change, because with what the pandemic has really done globally, one really has to be so very accepting of the change. Talking about how change in brand identity is so important today. Of course, brand loyalty, which is very much there, but that constant reminder needs to keep coming from the brand, taking from your pointers there of how India is a country where truly all mediums can coexist. I think all our delegates had a lot to learn from this session. So thank you once again, Mr. Bhasin and Mr. Lagate, for joining us for our very first session on brands and taking it to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you.
And as I thank both of them for this very, very interesting first session this evening, our next session is going to be about creating that first impression. As the very old saying has always been there, that it is the first impression that is the last impression. So taking our pointers and our cue from there, our next session will talk about how you can make your consumer remember you better, how can they know more about your product and your services? How can you make that perfect connection with them, that they really are loyal to your brand? What are the various factors that you can sort of keep in your mind and create a better first encounter? Telling us more about this in our next session, Minute to Win It, Psychology of the First Impression, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Raj Deepak Das, Managing Director, India, and Chief Creative Officer, South Asia, Leo Burnett. A warm welcome, sir, and we are looking forward to creating that perfect first impression thanks to you. So may I request you to please unmute yourself?
I think that's the new language for the COVID. Unmute yourself on all the Zoom calls. I'm saying, can you share my screen? Yep. Brilliant. Yeah. So great. So in fact, it's a very interesting thing, because we talked about. I liked what Ashish said. Embrace the change. But while we're talking about change, and something more interesting happening in the world with us, that is, while we all are in the screen, before this pandemic happened, we fell in love with something, a very small little thing. We call it emoji. So I will tell you a story before we get into our conversation about what you're talking about. I remember we had a small creative meet happening, and a bunch of young creative people, they presented something very, very nice, but it was not on the brief half of the time, how it happens mostly. So I told my creative head, he says, dude, I don't think, and this creative head is also quite a young guy, and he says, I don't think it was such a nice thing. I think you just tell them that, it's not working properly. So this creative head looked at me and says, yeah, I already did it. I said, how you did it? I says, I send this emoji. I said, dude, this is so harsh. You just send a shit emoji. I said, no, it's quite cute. They will get it. I said, no, tell them nicely. Those kids are really new. They should know what's wrong, but you tell in the right way. I says, yeah, I've also done it. I said, how? I says, I just add another emoji to that. I think I started laughing at it. I says, you said I told you 15 minutes of explaining how the feeling was, and you explain it into emoji. I said, yeah, they will get it. They will get it. Don't worry, Raj, they will get it. I think based on that, today we'll have our story will based on two things. We'll talk about two things. One is about this pandemic, or before that also, we've seen a lot of brand coming to market, or some brands are there for 10, 15 years, or some brands are there for decades. What they talk and how they talk, that they still are relevant to people. And at the same time, I'll talk the story about part of the story about emoji, the birth and the evolution of emoji, and in three different phases. So we will see three different stories in three different phases, and six stories. Okay, and so I'll call you three phases, six stories to explain all the thing that's going to happen in the next half an hour for you. So I'll first tell you about in the six phases, six stories. I'll talk about how we'll see about how brands start telling their stories, and different kind of stories on different kind of emotions. They get it out, and the same way the evolution of emojis also happened. So we'll take you step by step. So I will start with phase one, very interesting phase. Phase one is most of us, when you are as a marketer or as a branding person or a creative, our brands talk to consumers, and it's been happening for what do you call that, lot of time. Either it's a storytelling, or it's a video, or it's outdoor, it's a messaging, it's something that we're constantly building new things. That's sorry, hello, yeah. And that's happened a couple of years back. That's like I remember, like in 1999, in Docomo, when they was coming into online, what you call internet on a phone, they first created emojis, and this emojis was built not for what do you call that, like a two-way conversation. It was come for brand telling people what to be done, brand telling people, you know what I mean. Let's talk about the weather, so they don't have to write it down. It's going to be sunny, or it's going to be cloudy. It's going to be what do you call the rainy, or it's going to be a snowfall or thunderstorm. They just had emojis so that brand can talk to people about what the message is. It's all about giving your message to the world, and that is how the birth of emoji happened. And that is what most of our brand also start talking, when brands start talking to people, and that is the stage one for us. Like some brands are there for, like we talked about, a lot of brands have given birth in the last 5 years. You've seen the amount of brands, like the international brand coming to India, or Indian brand talking to the world. And that you can see that there is a what do you call that, brands are talking to people. But what's most important thing is, when brands are talking to people, there has to be a step where, after talking to people also, there has to be a gap or a step where that this talk is going to be the next level. It not just comes here and stops there. So I'll tell you how it happens, and I'll give it a small story and example, like I told you about a story about Spotify. Okay, we all know Spotify. I think most of us use Spotify. So I remember when Spotify came, first, it was a new brand in the country. So it didn't start talking without having an action to it. So we have a simple campaign that we started, and says there is a playlist for that. Now, when we started this campaign, there is a playlist for that. We actually we knew that Spotify had 4 billion playlists, and so there is, for every emotion or everything that was happening in our life, there was a playlist for that. So if we can match that thing happen, maybe we can create some magic there. So we start working on it, and you can see a lot of hyper local creatives that we created on TV, on digital, on everywhere. So I will give a little bit idea about what we did and how we did it. For instance, this was in Ahmedabad, and in the ISRO's office, and in, I think so, Bangalore, ISRO's office. And it's a shooting for the stars, for shooting for the moon, but stuck at the signal. There's a playlist for that, Bruno Mars. And that is how we started the entire conversation about it. We started the conversation about it. There is a playlist for that. And it went to the next level, where you're talking about all your Stephen guys know what does mean. You know what I mean? The college rivalry between the North Campus, the stories about that. If a Stephenian sways the Potola from your badge, there is a playlist for that. Hashtag heartbreak. So you can see that we can start talking about one by one, or talking about this thing. All the Mumbai guys knows about this. If you are staying in Lokhandwala, you'll be always tagged as a struggling actor. And that's to the next one we talked about, got down by choice, not by choice, either it in Dadar or in any metros in Delhi. There is a playlist for that. So we started actually getting more hyper and more local about it, or in NCP about it, or in Noida, where there's a lot of call centers there. We talk about how the graveyard shift what there. You know what I mean? So a graveyard shift, but already dead inside, there's a playlist for that, zombie business. So we started talking about a playlist, but what we did was we just didn't talk. We opened the conversation with the people. And how we did it, by having more than 1,300 billboards, digital platforms, and everywhere. It's all over the place. Now that becomes the conversation starter for us. Now, if you look at it, the phased one, when the brand was talking, when a brand was talking to people, we didn't just talk. We talked, but we opened the conversation for that. And this started getting a lot of tweets coming back to us, or Instagram messages, people talking about it, creating their own meme. People are just creating, going mad about it. But this, for some brand, which was there for 2 years with a stage one for them. Now, well, we're talking about all the messaging going for billboards or TV to getting into digital without we pushing it. Start the phase 2 for us. Now, phase 2 comes the phase where brand doesn't just talk to people. Brand interact with people. Now, how does the brand interact with people and what happens there? Let me give you a small example. The same thing about, we talked about emoji. Where the emojis was built, but a brand or the Docomo talking to consumers saying that this is what the icon means, this is icon means. But the second stage of emoji came where you see emojis are no more on the phone, you interact with the emojis. It becomes more human. You talk to people, you send those emojis, you send your feeling to people. Now that is the second phase of it. In the same way, what happens in the brand's life also is this. When a brand and people interact with each other. Now this is the most important part of a lot of brands, because you're sending the same message again and again. People are bored about it. Come on, trust me, they have a certain time for you to spend. But now the messaging of it taken care, but how you interact, how you talk to each other, how you have the conversation happening. So I will give you a small example that we did actually is, we did something for Twitter. Now, legendary brand, of course, again, has been in the country for, since I think 10, 15 years, 10 years almost in the country. People have been using the platform, it's been doing good. But very interesting thing is, well, the biggest problem in the Twitters, where people are using Twitter was always the people with a blue tick. With a blue tick, that means you're an influencer. So it's always, people said it was the top down, the message come from top down. So a lot of people are receiving instead of they were interacting with each other. Now, as a brand like Twitter, of course, it's easy to interact with people, but how you create conversations, more conversation, and how we talk to people, saying that, you know what, it's not about top down, but it's a bottom up can happen. How you can create a massive movement or massive craziness happen. So we started a simple campaign with Twitter. It says, no tweet too small when you tweet together. Now, if you see what we do with this, we actually dig in and start seeing how actually all the biggest movement has actually started. Do the people with the blue tick start the movement, or people with no ticks started the movement? And when you went back and funnily we started seeing what the trend was, and the trend was this. We found a lot of hashtags that actually started by people to create the biggest movement. For instance, hashtag Lahuka Lagan. It was about obviously the tax on sanitary pad, or section 377, or the next one, Me Too India, or we can see hashtag Kerala floods. You'll see a lot of this movement was actually started by people to the world. But sadly, people didn't know about it, that who started this movement or where the movement was started. So what we did in a place like this, we actually created this, what do you call that? The conversation between people and the brand start happening. We started going to places where the movement was started. Like for instance, the billboard was put in the place where the actually hashtag Kerala flood started. Or we went to, for instance, Delhi, people were talking about, the people started a movement called hashtag breathe. Now we went there and we went to the place where the first tweet was happened. Now suddenly by doing that, what you do, you actually make people understand the power they have to interact with a brand. We suddenly see a massive jump into the amount of people using Twitter, not as the numbers only, but the people interacting with the news. Because we can see that Twitter is one of the biggest platform. Like I always say, is the biggest news channel was there without anything, without having a videos or without having anything by the people for the people. It's Twitter. Now, there are people who watch it, who receive messages, and the people who put the messages. But now, after this campaign, we saw a massive jump on people interacting or people creating their own movement, people talking about what's happening in their life. Now, this part of the phase of phase 2 is very, very important to every brand, because with the phase 1, you open up the gate for conversation. But most of the time when the brands start the conversation and stop the conversation thinking, like there is a term saying that, you know what, there are project managers and brand managers. Project managers finishes the project there in 3 months or 1 year, but a brand manager lives the brand, keeps the brand alive for a long time in the marketing. And the exactly same thing in the campaign, the campaign stops there or campaign opens the gate for the next level of conversation. And that's what we did with Spotify, but in Twitter, we took, because everyone knows about Twitter, people are using it, but the conversation was not that much. So we built the entire campaign saying that, no tweet too small when we tweet together. Now, when it started, obviously it created its own race and everything. But to reach this point, for most of the brand, what you need is an act. An act or a service or a platform where people can interact with you. It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be diversifying and creating something for your consumers, or it could be a platform where people come together for you or believe in the same belief that you believe in. So you have to create the entire act for them to do something. Because this phase, lot of, like when I work with a lot of brand, we see 90% of the brand do the first phase. But very few brands will move on the first phase to phase 2. The other example I can give you is, I remember when we did something for Bajaj V, and the INS Vikrant was been going to a scrap, we got the brand back, we had a chat with Bajaj, and Bajaj being Bajaj, they bought the entire ship, INS Vikrant, they melted it and made bikes out of it. Now, there is no more buying a brand, there is a story happening and people are interacting with it. Very few times a brand create a platform or create a product or create a service when people fall in love with that or love interacting with that. Now that's phase 2, when people start interacting with your brand. Will this slowly go into phase 3 for us, which is without the presence of the brand, how people fall in love or people still live what you or what brand has taught them. So we'll talk about phase 3. But at the same time also, I will tell you the evolution of emoji, like I told you, they both were having together. The evolution of emoji happens. We started having emoji to each other. We started living the emoji. The emoji was part of our life. We sent thousands of emojis, like there are 10 billion emojis sent every day. 10 billion. I think that's, like, I think people, like if you see that we have 6 billion people and 10 million emojis, that shows the amount of emoji users are there. But the funny thing about emoji also start evolving. After a certain point of time, emoji was not the smileys. Emojis was not about just giving the emotion. Emojis suddenly turned into standing for something, what you stand for. In Chicago, and always did a very interesting campaign. In fact, they work towards to make emojis having their own values. if you look at it, emojis, there was, I think, so 2 years, 3 years back, most of the emojis were men emojis. If you have a sports emoji, it's a guy who is running. If you see a emoji as a rock star, again, guy singing. If it's an emoji doctor, it's a guy. So they wanted to change the entire thing. Wait a second. And all these things, even when girls are doing it. And then suddenly emoji was no more emoji. Emoji made into people's life as part of a symbol. And you can see that now look at this. Now beautifully, emojis are changing only from rock stars as a guys, sportsmen as a guys, cyclists as a guys, doctors as a guys, to having girls emoji. So again, it was the thing that has started as the brand just talking to people, to interacting, to becoming or living the belief of that what the brand believes in. And how, let's talk about what happens to the phase 3 in our life as a brand. Without the presence of the brand, people still live the brand. Now that is actually one of the toughest job for most of the brand people or the creatives. How? Not every day, we always talk about, like, we not every day people get up and saying that आज मैं Colgate से brush करता हूँ. You don't do that. Or आज मैं X brand का चाय पीता हूँ. Or I'm going to live that brand there. You don't do that. But in a certain amount of time, you live the brand so much. You believe in the belief system of the brand so much. So even the brand is there or not there, you start living it. Which is like, a lot of time we have a chat with our marketing team and the brand team or the CEO saying that how we reach here. Because by reaching here, you're actually like your legendary brand. It's not just 1 year or 2 year or 3 year. It's just 20 years or 30 years or decades of being in people's part of life, and people start believing in you. And how you do that? It's, again, we talked about the phase 2 opens up a gate for most of the brand to interact with people. The interaction becomes so strong. It's like a friend that even after you stop playing in the playground, you come back home and you talk to your mother that that Rohit was like this, or Mohan was like this, or John was like this. You start talking about your friend, or you live the values or live the things that your friend taught you. Without having your friend there, you still live that. Now that is actually one of the toughest job for any marketer or any even creatives, because you have to go through a lot of phases to be here. And this is most of the time possible when the brand is actually lived decades in people's life, and it's the right time to build that madness out there. So I will give you a very interesting example for one of our interesting and one of my favorite brand, Whisper. I remember Whisper was launching something 2 years back, and we started a very interesting campaign for Whisper, Sit in Proper. A brand that is been part of the change in the society for the last 3 decades. And every time the brand is spoke about something, either it is touch the pickle, or it's about education, girls' child education, or about getting girls back to school, all about getting now, in fact, the amazing campaign they're working, it is girls can't come back to school. Can we get school to girls? So we're getting online education, creating the online education platform for them. We created this campaign called Sit in Proper. Now, it came from a very, very, very simple insight of our society that, when a girl child is born, and the first thing, when a little bit grows up, the way she says, the first thing the mom says, or the dadi says, or the fufi says, keep sit like a girl. Ladki ki tarah baith. Now, it's part of our system, value system, because the way a girls behave in public, and you suddenly start judging the family, you judging the upbringing and everything, which is there for thousands of years been in our, what do you call that, in a DNA. We trained to do that, and so obviously it comes out naturally. And remember, when we started the sit in proper, we knew we have done something right, but we never knew how strong this movement could be. Now, there's a couple of Instagram messages. If you can see that, if you can read it, you can see that what we did was we just triggered the anger, or triggered that frustration of people that been inside for really, really long. Sit properly. Sit. If you sit like that, are you a boy? Or you sit like that, are you a man? Sit like a girl. There is a certain way to sit. There is a certain way not to sit. Within days, trust me, guy, within days, we created something that we never expected ourselves. Thousands of messages start pouring in. People start talking about how their moms, their elder sisters, their grannies, their aunts, their friends, their teachers, the family members have told them to sit properly. Now, there was no brand being talked anywhere. But what we talked was something really hidden in the society for really, really long. And that built the momentum for a brand. And people start loving you because you start understanding people. Like we talked about, there was no whisper after that. But people believed in that system of hashtag sit in proper and start talking about it. Like I talked about, it's a friend who tell you what is good and what is wrong. And when you come back home, you started believing in those things and talking to all the great things your friend has done, our friend has told. It's like if any of you have a young kid, you know that when the kid goes to school and come back and he learns those things, is you should do this, we should not do this. And that's what exactly what is consumers are behaving. Without the presence of the brand, how you build the entire movement. So if you look at it, all the three things, I will just get it through again. It's a very simple thing. You know, when a brand talk to people, everyone is doing that. Like I told you, 90% of the brands are doing it. When brand and people interact with each other. Now this turn into, out of 90, I says, then the next 9%, or maybe 9.5%, or maybe a little bit more than that, brand do that. That they have a interacting with each other, getting platforms and services and everything. Then comes the third and the most important part. Without the presence of the brand, people still live the brand. Now this is very, very, very few brands does that. Like a 0.5% of the brand that I work with reach here. And the funnily, when I was typing the entire thing, and I saw there is you can see that there is a step system happen. I promise I didn't design it like that. It was troubling me, but I realized it's actually been built automatically because it's the toughest one to reach here. Every brand or every marketing person, a creative person, has to go through these three phases to reach here. Very few brands I can think of. I mean, Whisper is one of them. Ariel is one of them. Share the Load is one of the pieces of work here, which reach here, and with years of doing something right again and again and again to be there. Like I told about, like at the same time, let's go to the next phase. We talked about the emojis. And now we don't have to tell you what the emojis means. Maybe you know what the emoji means, how they have evolved and have reached here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Das. And I think such fantastic emojis you really ended with, like you mentioned, starting with the emojis that one ends up using these days. And I definitely know I use a lot of those. So beautiful expressions out there. Thank you. We had a lot of takeaways from there. And on a very high note, like you mentioned, that it really is. Without the presence of the brand, also there are brands that continue to live in people's heart and more. Thank you so very much for joining us for that
Thank you.
fantastic session. Thank you. And as I thank Mr. Raj Das, I'd like to take all of you to our next session, which is going to be a very interesting fireside chat on our business superstar fireside, Grey Hair Wisdom or Millennial Ventures, what makes a brand successful in the current times. This expert session will be having a lot of our deliberations on business disruptors who brands have been successful for ages, or the disruptors that have been successful in making a place for themselves in this very, very competitive market. And that is what brings us to our expert panels right here. But before I introduce our panelists, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to our moderator, Ms. Radhika Sridharan, partner Bain and Company. Welcome, ma'am. Let me also introduce to you our panelists who will be joining us for a lot of these deliberations and their experiences, their talk points. We have with us Mr. Harish Narayanan, CMO Mintra, Mr. Vivek Sharma, CMO Pidilite, Mr. Tarun Goyal, Partner Marketing Manager, Dell Technologies. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Anil Vishwanathan, Senior Director, Marketing Chocolates Insights and Analytics, Montdelez, India. And a warm welcome to Ms. Pallavi Chopra, Vice President, Brand and Head of Marketing, Red Bar. So a power-packed panel right there, and a lot of excitement that we've created around the subject, making sure that we have brands with us who've been living for ages and ages, and people continue to love them, and brands that are that have really broken those barriers and created a name for themselves. On discussing this and more, I'd now like to hand over to Ms. Radhika Sridharan. Ma'am, all yours.
Thank you so much, Isha, and welcome to the panel. We have a very interesting topic, and like Isha's also set it up, I think given all of your varied backgrounds as well as rich histories, I'm sure we'll have a great discussion and be able to go really deep into the topic. I'd like to organize our discussion into three parts, mainly because there's a lot of ground to cover, so give it a little bit of structure. We'll start off by just probing the premise of the topic. So what exactly, our opinions on both sides. Then take a little bit of time to think about what might change in the immediate future, both as a function of, let's say, changing demographics, as well as, the emergence of new brands and platforms that are obviously going to create new possibilities. And then finally, we'll conclude with some takeaways for both established as well as emerging or disruptive brands. And I believe we also have the opportunity to take some questions from the audience towards the end, depending on how we do on time. So I'll start with you, Anil. You have a very rich stable of brand assets that we've all grown up with in some sense. So, I'd like to pose the question to you. Are disruptive, insurgent millennial ventures really going to dominate legacy brands? And if not, why, in your view?
Thanks, Radhika, and hello to everyone, including my fellow panelists. Very happy to be here. I think from our perspective, I guess what we are seeing is fundamentally a few changes that is resulting in kind of the landscape changing. So the first perspective is the consumer's perspective, and the fact that the way they consume media and the way they're exposed today is very different from the way they were exposed earlier. And that's resulting in a much larger consideration basket for consumers. And also the fact that they're consuming so much of information, and information has become far more democratic. The way they're making their choices has also changed from the past. So as a result of more open choice making and much greater access, we're seeing consumers being much more open to all kinds of brands and not just restricted to a few set of brands as we were as consumers a few years back. I think the second thing is, of course, dropping entry barriers, resulting in a much larger clutter and much larger access for new players, insurgent players, and lots of new brands coming in. both with the emergence of e-commerce as well as with barriers dropping in offline retail as well. So as a result of that choice explosion and much lower barriers, I think what really becomes important for brands like ours, or companies like ours, which have well-established portfolios, is to be firstly to acknowledge the fact that the consumer is changing, right, and then react accordingly. I think when it comes to brand building, even in today's days, irrespective of where and how the consumer consumes media, the principles of brand building haven't changed. It's just that the considerations have changed. So the onus is much larger on legacy brands to adapt to this changing environment and this changing consumer trends, if I were to put it that way. Having said that, I think what legacy brands do bring in are the benefits of scale and benefits of category knowledge, which, if used in consonance with how the consumer is changing, and if you have an ear to the ground, then I do see that there are advantages that legacy brands can leverage. So I think my point of view is, in that sense, balanced, to be aware of what's happening in the marketplace and then to respond accordingly. Fundamentals of brand building don't change. People who build brands better stand to gain in the longer term.
Yeah. So, those were interesting. I think that was a great setup in terms of, both talking about changes on the consumer side as well as dropping barriers to entry and so on. So let me then move on to Vivek. I mean, you've built, again, phenomenal brand. We've all seen the iconic, 20 years of Pidilite advertising and so on. What are some of those unique consumer insights that you've tapped into, or that category knowledge that Anil referenced, that really enable you to maintain your edge in this increasingly fragmenting landscape?
Vivek, you're on mute.
Yes. So good evening, everyone, and happy to be here and share my thoughts. So yes, Radhika, we have brands, you can call them legacy brands like Fevicol, Fevikwik, M-Seal, or you can call them brands which are loved by consumers. And I would like to take a few thoughts which Anil brought on the table and take them forward. Perhaps the right way to start is this a debate of millennial brand versus legacy brands? Or is it a debate versus relevant brands or brands which are not able to keep themselves relevant? Is it about brands which are able to refresh themselves or not refresh themselves? Or brands which are able to reach consumers where they are, or they are still falling behind in their go-to-market strategies? And just to extend the thought given by Anil, what do legacy brands bring on table? Legacy brands bring three things, I think. One is consistency over a period of time. Consistency in the brand proposition, consistency in their emotional values, consistency in the personality, consistency in their function and emotional benefit. I mean, for 60 years, Fevicol has stood for unbreakable bonds, and Cadbury's Dairy Milk also stood for some similar values of sharing, sweetness, which we are familiar with and love with. Second thing is trust and reliability. Now, some millennial brands can also bring trust and reliability. Now tell me, Google and Facebook, which have been here for more than a decade, 15, 20 years, are they legacy brands? Are they millennial brands? So that brings us to the debate that what makes a brand loved and trusted. So in short, I think legacy brands, as long as they're able to stay themselves refreshed, stay themselves relevant, and stay themselves emotionally engaged with their audiences, they will continue to be loved, whether they belong to legacy or not, whether they're appealing to youth or not. So I think fundamentals of brand building and brand sustenance never change, is what I would open with.
I'll just quickly ask you a follow-up to that, which is, you spoke about being, continuing to be relevant, loved by consumers. What is the process of tapping into consumer insight, especially as consumers' needs change, that you follow as a legacy brand to continue to stay relevant?
Yes, it's very simple. I'll give an example of Fevicol to illustrate the point. For brands to continue to be loved for decades and maybe even half a century, for a brand like Fevicol, you have to stay true to the soul of the brand or the value of the brand, which for Fevicol is unbreakable bonds. So it continued to deliver the promise in form of his products, which are technologically advanced, and they keep changing as the way furniture is made, the way industrial processes are done, they change. His advertising continues to appeal to human emotions, remain humorous and very human, so it connects with consumers. But as in last 8 to 10 years, our consumers have changed. We need to engage with younger audience. You may have seen Favicol has become very active in digital medium. So it continues to deliver the same message of unbreakable bonds through themes and tonality, which is now more relevant to youth, more relevant to mediums like digital, whether it is a Game of Thrones post, whether it is about COVID, whether it is about the movie. But the soul of the brand remains in the area of unbreakable bonds. So I think that is the essence of retaining relevance, is that you have to be consistent to true to the soul of the brand and the proposition of the brand. You may change how it reaches consumers through your distribution, through your communication, through mediums, but the core of the brand can never and should never change.
Yeah, thanks. So, Harish, as a fashion marketplace, you deal with brands across the spectrum, both disruptive new brands as well as established leaders in each category. What is your perspective? How do you see these brands approaching the opportunity differently? And from the consumer perspective, how do you see demand patterns evolving in response to this set of options that are on offer?
So first of all, thanks Radhika for these questions, and very happy to be here, and very happy to be here in the midst of this fantastic group. I'm loving the conversation. So even listening to these chats, it's very interesting, right? So I quickly did a Google search while the gentlemen were talking. Myntra happens to be the youngest brand in this group, I feel. So I can talk about on both sides, right? I agree a lot with what Anil and I checked Pallavi. Red Rose was 2006.
And you guys are what?
2007.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I was saying, I agree with what the gentleman who spoke before me, Anil and Viveka, were saying, right? It's a disservice to call brands a legacy brand or a millennial brand. In fact, somebody who's been able to keep up a brand promise alive for 60 years, respect to that storytelling, right? That's an amazing way of building a fantastic brand. So I agree with a lot of what is being said. One, a brand is a consistent promise, right? That's been said over years and has been kept by other product experience. Brand is something that has occupied a certain part of the mind of the consumer, and he is given that space to you, right? When I think of anything to stick, I think of Fevicol, right? When I think of candy, I think of Cadbury. So it's space that has been occupied over time, and that has been made possible because of great storytelling over years. So the way I would answer your question is actually focused on relevance. The consumer has changed. What they want has changed dramatically, even more so because of COVID, right? So which means that somebody who wanted the latest trends may now want something that is more comfortable in fashion sense. So the brand that continues to be relevant and talks the language that makes sense to the customer, and at the same time remain true to the core, and I'll explain what I mean by these things, will win over time. So it's that formula of consistency over time and being relevant and being able to tell fantastic stories. These things put together form a brand, and not the amount of time that one has spent developing a brand. So that would be my take. So we deal with, like you said, I would call them senior brands and junior brands. Let's put it that way. Brands which have been around for a while, and then brands which are new. The ones that I see winning are the ones that follow this framework or formula. If they are relevant and they have hit on an insight that the consumer is like, aha, yes, that's me, right? And then if they're able to deliver the value after, it's not just a promise, right? We have these concepts, right? Moments of truth. So the zero moment of truth can be me saying something, but the first and second moment of truth is when I experience you as a product. And when these three things come together, magic happens and brands get made. So for example, we have a brand called HRX, which is a very young brand, right? The one we have with Ritik. it's one of the best brands in the athleisure space, and people love it because of the way it has grown in the last few years. On the other hand, we also deal with brands like Nike or a Puma, who are also very well loved and are very well sought after, and they are some of the best brands that we can carry. And because they have spent decades telling their story and standing for something which is excellence and sport, and they have been able to do that also well. So on both ends of the spectrum, whether old or new, if we are able to tell a relevant story and tell it consistently and live the promise, consumers are rewarded as disproportionately. So I would split it rather into relevant and irrelevant brands, like Vivek was talking about, and not talk about legacy and millennial. And these are all, another example, right? We all love Apple, the brand. It feels very fresh, but it's 40 years old or decades old. So does that mean that Apple is a legacy brand? Hell no. Right? It's one of the freshest brands there is. On the other hand, there's Google, which feels like it has been around for decades, but it's been around for 15 years. So, or 20 years. So that's how I would classify, not talk about legacy versus.
Yeah, I think those are all obviously great examples and helpful as we sort of think about the premise of the question here. Pallavi, you're the second youngest brand, so to speak, on this panel. What's your perspective on this question?
I just feel you can't generalize things because, definitions are changing really fast. What was yesterday's insurgent is today's legacy. I mean, I don't know what to call a Paytm. What would you call it? A BB Daily is already threatening a big basket, So disruptions are happening by the quarter. By the quarter is also a long period. They're actually happening, by the month, by the fortnight. So, and all of this is happening because of a reason. Because brands today, especially the digital brands, when you look at from the perspective of a digital brand, it's no more an image. Okay, to me, it's an algorithm, or rather, to the world, it's an algorithm. Okay, and a brand, I think, is as good as the algorithm behind it. So it's not about perception anymore, imagery, none of that. Okay, it's about experiencing the brand. And why this has become even more important today is because everything is a surge away. Everything has become so transparent. So no amount of brand building or advertising, etc., can redeem a bad product or a bad algorithm. Unfortunately, the digital world has made information access so easy. So as a brand, you need to be much more authentic. You need to be transparent. You need to make sure your product experience is top notch. And that algorithm has to work damn well for the brand to work, or the brand to stay relevant. Otherwise, the brand becomes legacy. So that's really my perspective on this. And also here, what I like to touch upon another topic, which is, short-termism versus long-termism, and I think somewhere maybe you're going to touch upon it when we go forward. When I saw the panel notes, you touched upon this concept of the gray hair wisdom, right? So I feel that even from the perspective of your current existing brand, you need to look at things from that point of view. Yeah. See that there are two ways in which you can sell things, right? You can do very hardcore tactical marketing, which is going to give you immediate response. I mean, loosely we call it performance marketing. It's more short term in nature. Or you can do stuff that's long term, which is around building memory structures. It's more long lasting in nature. It has less decay. So I think it's you need to perhaps look at it from that perspective too. Whether a legacy brand versus a millennial brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I do want to explore some of the things that you brought up in the next section. We'll just get to that. But I just want to go over to Tarun. We've spent a lot of time talking about B2C, brands, the different kinds of opportunities as well as challenges they face. In the B2B space, would you argue that in some sense things are a little bit more established? I mean, the fundamental principles of how to build a great brand, founded on the great relationship, service, and everything else, still continues to remain. And in some ways, while principles might be established on the B2C side, at least the ways of working are changing. Would you agree that the same is potentially true in the B2B space, or is it really more established?
Okay. Thanks, Radhika. Very, very pertinent point. And first of all, thanks for inviting me here. And really glad to hear all of these perspectives from Anil, from Vivek, from Pallavi. Right? It's an altogether different world, as you rightly recognized, B2B versus B2C. But some of the fundamentals still remain the same, right? We all try to address what is a brand, what constitutes a brand. Vivek spoke about consistency, trust, reliability. Pallavi spoke about it being an algorithm. To me, and the words of one of my professors still resonate in my mind. A brand is nothing but a promise, right? Today, if I go and if I buy a Lifebuoy, I know I can expect a certain kind of smell, a certain kind of feel with that product. Today, if my customers, and I take care of B2B, whereas Dell's business is 50-50 between consumers and the B2B commercial side. If there's one thing that customers relate, trust Dell very well with, is the quality of the products and the assurance in terms of after sales support, right? So that kind of validates my theory, that kind of validates my professor's words still 15 years on, that you have to continue to stick close to and still continue to deliver on your promise. The moment that goes away, whether it is a consumer or a consumerist brand which has a low entry barrier, or whether it's a high entry barrier like high tech, like Dell, right? And we spoke about that there are today in today's market, the entry barriers are very small, and a lot of vendors can start entering, now, and maybe brands appear and disappear at the drop of a hat, maybe on a weekly or a monthly basis. But not so much true in the case of a vendor like Dell, not for a vendor like Dell, right? Both the entry and the exit barriers are quite high. So staying relevant to the conversations of today, at the same time staying true to your promises, I think they are both relevant, whether it is B2B and B2C. And I'll bring one example, right? One, I spoke about the support, of course. Second, in terms of staying relevant, all the Dell commercials or the messaging that we used to have used to feature around the product, the speeds and feeds, the products look and feel, so on and so forth. You look up our YouTube channel lately, one of the market researches that we did, as soon as the lockdown hit, the OTT consumption content went up like exponentially, right? There are various assessments in the market, 5x, 10x, 20x, 50x, whatever, anybody's guess. We came out with commercials which showcased family members still sitting together, still having good time, still working together, but glued to their PC screens because they are either consuming content or working on their notebooks or the desktops, staying relevant to the market. So idea is, yes, stay relevant, stay true to your promises, and yes, stay relevant in the market, whether you are a legacy brand which is 50 years old like Pidilite, or whether you're a decade-old brand like the others that we spoke about. Both are equally relevant, I would say.
Yeah. So I think across the panel, there's violent agreement that in some sense this is a false binary, right? Grey-haired wisdom versus millennial venture. So let's set that aside.
I like the term violent agreement.
So I mean, at the same time though, like Anil, you set it up by saying there's a lot of fragmentation, barriers to entry are crumbling. There are more options. Consumers are looking for for more options than ever before. So while there's agreement on the what, how do you as an established brand or as even a new brand, how do you actually stay relevant? The consumers are probably also going to have quite different expectations. I mean, we're talking about a significant expansion of the consuming class over the next 10 years. New consumers, let's say from smaller towns, younger people who may not have the same kind of established memory structures as previous generations, are all going to start now becoming big buyers. So how do you, as a company, see yourself reaching out to them, staying relevant, and any specifics that you can share on that would be great.
Sure. I think the fundamental starting point is always the consumer, Radhika. So I think going back to saying that how consumer centric is an organization and how well are we keeping track of the consumer becomes the starting point. And in that context, I guess looking at our portfolios and our brands and seeing whether there is any reason to believe that we are leaving opportunities for others to take in, or any growth vectors, white spaces, any areas around category growth that we are leaving on the table for somebody else to come in, or as category leaders or as leaders of the category who know the business, know the category well enough. Have we been proactive enough in investing and thinking about the future? I think it's to start with the consumer. And I think from our perspective, from a Mondelez perspective, I think both we have a great example of presence in a category where we've been category leaders and synonymous to the category over the years, where the onus for us, at close to 70 share of the market is really to grow the market, right? And I mean, interestingly, even when we see intensified competition in a category like chocolate, we observe from a Mondelez perspective, we are the only people who are growing the market. When you look at market growth or looking at growing per capita consumption or growing penetration, growing physical availability, I think we do see that the onus comes back to us to grow the category. So I think that's the advantage in that sense from a leadership standpoint, because if you take the onus to say, I'm going to take the category in a certain direction, then you're leading the consumer, because consumer is also in that sense unfamiliar to take the conversation forward. It's not something the consumer is used to. And in underpenetrated categories where penetration is low, per cap consumptions are low, it's all up to the kind of category leader to lead the path in that sense. And on the other side, we have presence in categories where we are very, very small, but we are world leaders like biscuit. And then coming from behind, and in that sense being the insurgents to well-established legacy brands, we do also obviously see opportunities to reframe the conversation. And so I think that's the interesting bit. I mean, when we think about legacy, we think about stagnancy, we think about sameness. And I think in that context, keeping the consumer at the center, if you're able to pivot, know where the conversation can be headed to and take the lead there. And I think a fundamental reframe that happens pretty much is because you're obsessed about the core, and quite often some of these white spaces are smaller, are subscale, and require upfront investment. And that's the kind of the trade-off that people make. Sometimes as legacy leaders, because you're focused on managing the core, there's a lot of focus on the core and not so much focus on the future growth vectors, which is where kind of new players come in, they're able to invest, they're able to create that market. So how are you able to balance and make those choices between protecting your core and investing in the new? It's a standard P&L question that all large P&L holders think about. And your ability to play the portfolio and ensure that you don't leave those white spaces, I think then become. So I think it's about strategy and business and also consumer centricity. Quite often we have seen in some cases, if a category leader is complacent, you're pretty much forced to make that pivot because of an externality. So a great example is noodles, right? And what happened to the category leader and how dramatically the category is different today. And we see that in a category like biscuits, when we can see a pre-post when Oreo came in 2010 and how the category is today as to how we've seen the category of biscuits all our childhood. So I think there are great opportunities and there's lots to see, because in this country, there's so much of headroom, especially in food, a lot of growth opportunity. We can see where growth opportunities exist. And if you're close to the consumer, identify the trajectory and invest behind it, I think you're there. Then you're not leaving anything for an insurgent or a new brand to come and take.
Yeah. I think, Harish, on that note, and I'm going to pick up from some of the things that Anil said, he spoke about identifying emerging consumer demand spaces, quickly getting products to the market to tap into that kind of emerging demand. we've seen a lot of digital native brands be very good at the execution component of that. So be very data driven in terms of identifying consumer trends based on variety of different data sources that may not have been used earlier, and then pivoting to be able to service them very quickly. In particular, in e-commerce, a number of these smaller brands are able to do that really well. But obviously, that also means at the back end not having the kind of perhaps manufacturing investments or some of the legacy kind of supply chain structures that existed earlier. I have two questions for you on the back of this. One is, how sustainable do you think some of these newer brands are? Simply because a disruptor in that sense could always get disrupted by somebody else who's sort of playing the same game a little bit better. And secondly, how good are some of your established, more legacy brands? I use that word with caution, but more established brands at being able to actually execute a similar kind of strategy?
I'll tweak the question a bit, and I'll talk about fast reaction times to not just new product launches, but to marketing itself. So on the marketing side, I think the reaction time has tremendously reduced across the board, whether it is established brands, new brands, it doesn't matter. And going back to what we have all been, like you said, violently agreeing on, as long as we have the right insights and the right relevant offering to the customer, these brands usually win. So I'll expand a bit on that. The kind of data points that are available, especially as an e-commerce player, are tremendous, right? Both first-party, third-party data, the kind of decisions that we can make based on data on an hourly basis, it is tremendous. So we know which region, which type of consumer, which mindset, which intent, what category. We know all these things by the hour or by the day, right? And we understand these things quite well. And again, I come from, my career started with FMCG, then went to tech in internet, and then now to e-commerce. So I've seen the difference in the speed. Sometimes it is mind-boggling, but most of the times it's quite enjoyable, right? So the data that is available to us helps us to make these runtime decisions quite well. In to Anil's point, which are the markets that are under-penetrated, which is the user that is underserved. Post-COVID, what happened was all the customers in the tier 2, tier 3 markets who used to go and shop in their local malls, they had no outlet to shop for quality premium fashion. And Myntra became the place to go, right? Because if you want a certain brand, you would only find it on Myntra. So that became a big point for us to focus and grow the tier 2, tier 3 markets in a big way. At the same time, how do we then keep our loyal customers happy in metro and tier 1 cities and grow them? And which segment is it, which gender, which segment, which cohort? Is it recent customers? Is it old customers? Within that cohort, what is the behavior? Are they coming back more on the app, or are they coming back more on the web? Is desktop usage going up because of work from home? All these data points become inputs into our marketing story, right? And depending on that, the mix changes every week, and depending on the mix change, the output. So it's an iterative process, and this iterative process is made possible because of the understanding of our customers that we have in a deep way. So that is how I would answer the question. I wouldn't say from a product delivery point of view as fashion, the supply chains still are long, right? You have to identify design, then produce it, and then get enough stock in various sizes and so on. Even that, I think, given the use of technology, we have some inbuilt in-house tools which are able to predict what's going to be hot next couple of months. So it is actually able to read images from, say, Instagram to understand what are the influencers talking about. Is it a polka dot top, or is it a short sleeve kurta? Like, it is able to read the images and see which ones are going to be more popular in the coming months. And that is some input that we share with our brand partners and with our brands to have as an input for the next design. So in terms of leading the trend and predicting the fashion, that is something that is also possible. So in both senses, the the turnaround time, or like I said, the runtime has tremendously reduced. How this continues and which ones become successful over the long period of time and which ones become only a short-term gimmick is usually very closely tied into the ones that are insight-based and are solving a real need and are driving the core promise of the brand as Myntra survive longer. Right? The ones who are short-term focused and want to drive growth as a tactic, they usually don't last very long.
So, Vivek, let me then ask you. Harish made the distinction between speed of execution or reaction on the marketing front, and then actually following that up with product delivery. And in some ways, in your first round, you spoke about how the brand has continued to stay relevant more from, let's say, marketing and the consumer connect perspective. But in order to also retool the entire company more broadly to be more quick and responsive, how challenging have you found it to, let's say, change existing ways of working within an organization that's been doing things a certain way for many years? And have you actually almost thought of these as being two separate engines of growth in some sense, your core business and emerging opportunities, or are you looking at fundamentally changing ways of working across the entire business?
Radhika, yes, it's a very relevant way to look at brands. And let me again bring back that word which we said is not the right pivot, which is the millennial. So rather than look at millennial brands, we can look at millennial mindset, and which will actually encompass a lot of things which Harish and you are speaking about. If we can pick up 3 things from the millennial mindset, the change in the thinking and behavior of my customers, my consumer, which have happened is, first of all, expectation levels have really, really gone up. Response time which people and customers want is very, very short. Technology upgradations are very, very swift and they can come from anywhere. And ecosystem matters as much for a product brand like Fevicol and as much for a fashion brand. And let me illustrate on all these 4 parameters how a brand like Fevicol has changed or is changing, so that is catching up with these millennial demands and mindsets. And it relates very much to a question and what Harish has actually illustrated before. So first of all, if you look at the expectation levels, I think expectation levels have really gone up from my consumers who expect their furniture to be made with Fevicol or their home to be waterproof with Dr. Fixit, right? They expect that our response time is fast. So they not only expect that we deliver an adhesive to make their furniture, they also expect a service. They also expect design ideas. They also expect certified contractors, certified carpenters. So we have actually opened up a design service called Fevicol Design Ideas, which is digital in nature, which actually gives furniture ideas to consumers and connects certified contractors with consumers. That is one. And this is which means a brand like Fevicol is not just delivering adhesive to consumers, but is giving a service for home renovation. That is one. Now in COVID and with millennial mindset, I think expectations have also changed. Consumers are very, very conscious about safety. They're not letting in contractors and carpenters in their homes. So business is suffering. So what did we do? We reached out digitally to our contractors and carpenters and trained them about safe working practices, ensured that they are all trained, they are certified, and the safety kits are reaching to them. And then we started a digital campaign with consumers that please allow these carpenters and contractors to come into their home if certified by Fevicol, and it's safe. So I think the way a brand has to change with the changing circumstances, changing behaviors, and changing attitude, it has to happen throughout. It's not necessary that only brands which are service or digital in nature have to pivot. Even we have to pivot, and we successful brands normally do. The third and most important thing is it is the ecosystem and the influencer which matters as much. As Tarun said, in B2B brands, influencers matters. Of course, in B2C also there matters, we know, for fashion influencers. But for a brand like Fevicol, also influencers have begun to matter in the kind of furniture ideas they recommend to consumers, what kind of substrates they recommend. So we have also begun to reach out to architects and interior designers digitally and to make sure that the brand stays relevant. Or if I take other example, Dr. Fixit. Dr. Fixit has to engage as much with the consumer or a contractor which makes a home, as much with civil engineers and architects who actually specify, as Tarun will say in a B2B language, a specification of a brand much up in the value chain is done quite logically and based upon technological advancement. So I think the millennial mindset has actually brought all these things upon a brand, and brand has to respond. And last but not the least, I would say one thing which millennial mindset has taught all of us is to listen continuously, and respond as fast as possible. Whether it is response to my customers, consumers demanding waterproofing response from me digitally through call center, or my contractors. Just to let you know, Fevicol runs one of the largest influencer programs in the country. We connect to more than 1.5, 2 lakh contractors. They are talking to us about products. They want education on the applications and trainings, and they want information about the points which they accumulate. We have digitized the whole process, and we respond to their queries on a real-time basis through a call center, through digital social media handles, so on and so forth. So the point is that whether even a traditional brand, so-called traditional brand, which is actually selling adhesive, is not just selling adhesive, it's selling a service, operating in an ecosystem, has to become digital and has to respond and listen continuously.
That's a wonderful set of nuggets, Vivek. Thank you. I didn't know that you ran the largest influencer program in the country. That's fascinating.
One of the largest. I don't know who are the other large people.
Okay, fantastic. So I think we're almost at time. So I'm going to quickly hand it over to you, Pallavi, and then Tarun for closing thoughts. What are your predictions for the future? If I can ask you that, that's a big one. But let me ask you that, Pallavi, and then finally we close with Tarun.
All right, I'm going to rephrase this question a bit. I'm going to say, how would I want the future to be? Okay. So I want the future, number one, to be highly authentic. Okay, because millennials value authenticity the most, from my experience. Now I'll give you one example, Gillette example, right? We've all seen that the best a man can get campaign, which they have been sort of running over the years, right? They've been sort of harping on the real man, so to speak. Okay, and then on the other hand, they during one of their Formula One promotions, they had these skimpy clad cheerleaders featured in the ad, and which was clearly objectifying women. And this had a very sort of detrimental impact on the brand, right? And we were able to see through the policy of it all, right? So it's very, very important, therefore, in the current times, to be extremely authentic. The second thing is about bringing back creativity. So the tendency, especially in some of the digital tech new age brands, is that the focus is on targeting, micro targeting, segmentation, micro segmentation, all of that. A lot of toolification of marketing that happens, and in all this, you sort of miss out on the creative part of it. The creative, the communication. What are you actually saying? What is it that the brand is saying and delivering, right? So I feel that and creative is somewhere, I think, become an afterthought. So I feel that the future should bring the creative back into the focus, into the primary focus, and that's, I think, extremely important. I've seen it in my own journey, my own Redbus journey. I spent the first few years. I've been in Redbus for the last 6 years. The first 2 years of my journey in Redbus was a lot about digital tools, all of that. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not important now. It's equally important now as well. But it's only when we sort of broaden the horizon, really started focusing on getting our communication right, getting the looking at other media apart from digital, looking at television. So I've come a full circle here. Is when things began to change for us. We really saw massive growth happening. I think the change in mindset actually led to a lot of that. Okay, same thing with our Malaysia journey of Redbus, where the one big creative insight, rather than micro creatives at segment level, which really helped the brand. We cracked a beautiful campaign, which has actually been a part of the brand, for the last 4 years. It's called Chup Tempered Dengan Redbus, which basically means in Malay, chup is a slang for blocking your seat, and we sort of and Redbus is about is about choosing a seat of your choice and securing a seat of your choice, and that's the brand promise that we were trying to deliver. And since we stuck on with that line, we stayed with that line for 4 years. We are today the number one sort of brand in the market. I mean, of course, we did many things around this, but the point I was trying to make is that we stayed true to communication and what the consumer really wanted to hear, and where the idea is beyond just the media itself. Okay, so that's one point. And the third thing that I really want to emphasize is on the fact that we want more women in marketing. I know it's a panel of all men, and we're all dominated by men here. And it's not about propagating sisterhood or telling that women are some magical creatures or something. It's really, I feel that men tend to get into this herd mentality, and there's a lot of herd thinking that happens. I just want to challenge that belief, because I think as women we can bring in a different point of view. So I just feel that the future should be some of these things.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And Tarun, maybe just a minute or two of your concluding thoughts, and then we'll wrap.
Sure, Radhika. So let me go last in first, all right? So first of all, absolutely, Pallavi, while you were saying that we need more women in the industry, I see 3 out of 7 faces over here, I think, and maybe even more. My India CMO, our global CMO -1 are mostly women. So I'm sure women bring fantastic inputs to the society, to the thoughts, to the creativity, to all the perspectives from marketing point of view. I don't think there's any gender bias that way, but definitely a good point. Harish spoke about data. I can totally relate to him. Harish, my wife used to work for Myntra for a few years. She used to work for Jabong. Jabong got acquired by Myntra, so I can totally understand the amount of data that she used to work on. Every time she would be talking about the huge amount of data and how data-based ad targeting that she used to do. She would run campaigns, mobile targeted campaigns, PC targeted campaigns, so on and so forth. Totally, I can relate. Vivek spoke about high expectations, how he, building one of the biggest influencers network in the industry. Of course, hyper localization and hyper personalization is the buzzword today in the market, right? But I'll take your question for a little bit of swing, Radhika, and I'll try to keep my time short. Instead of saying that what the future looks like, I would rather say for all the marketers out there, all the brand managers out there, how can you make your future better? How can you make your campaigns perform better, right? Now, your brand, your company owners can perform really well. You may have the right talent, you may have the right resources, the right CEO, right CMO, you may have a good funding, good VCs to back you, or maybe a long legacy of 50 years. But one thing I learned in the last 10 years at Dell, your performance is your potential minus your internal interference, right? Your internal team has to work really hard, work really together to find out what you're promising out in the market and whether you and your team is lined up to deliver those promises or those commitments to your customers. And that goes equally well for both B2B as well as B2C, right? Left hand not knowing what right hand is doing or what it can do or what it cannot do. The moment you are in any of these situations, then believe me, any branding campaign or any branding promise or any business related assurance to the customers will kind of fall flat on the face, right? If that happens, you will have a situation where it's like operation successful but patient died, right? So my recommendation to all listeners and my peers, my team members over here as well, when you're making a plan, when you're making a campaign, when you're doing any communication out, make sure that the internal noises, internal alignments are well taken care of before you hit the road. Over to you, Radhika. think we lost Radhika. She ran out of time.
Well, I think Radhika's really put together the whole conversation so very well, and that's what makes it so interesting. So I'd once again like to take this opportunity and thank Mr. Harish Narayanan, Mr. Vivek Sharma, Mr. Tarun Goyal for those last words, Mr. Anil Vishwanathan, Ms. Pallavi Chopra for sharing all those fantastic examples with us, and of course, Ms. Radhika Sridharan, our moderator, who sort of put together all these points for us. So thank you for that, Radhika. And I must say that while this session did deliberate a lot on the various strategies and competencies of the points that all of you have been taken in your organization, it's really, the argument sort of continues, whether it's the establishing or the emerging brands who the future belongs to. We still don't have answers on that, because every brand here is trying to create that perfect space for themselves. Our panelists are a mix of both, very, very established brands, new brands, and you're all doing so very well. And that's what really matters, that today people connect with your brands. They have this beautiful emotional relationship with them. So I think that's what really puts it all together. So once again, I'd like to take this opportunity and thank our panel for sharing all those points of views there. Thank you so very much, panelists, for joining us for the fantastic panel discussion right here. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Isha.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you guys. Bye-bye.
Yes,
Bye.
indeed. We just had our business superstars on our discussion on gray hair wisdom or millennium ventures. What makes a brand successful, especially in the current times that each of us are facing today. But now the evenings come to a very spectacular point. Yes, very soon we're going to bring to you an absolutely fantastic moment where we'll get to felicitate brands across sectors that have created a space for themselves in the hearts and the minds of their consumers. Yes, the Economic Times is all set to unveil the most comprehensive study, including the leading brand stories from numerous sectors, having successfully covered those brand stories across various sectors, to name a few: education, healthcare, FMCG, technology, lifestyle, luxury, and the list just goes on. The coffee table book that we'll be presenting to you this evening is the result of an endeavor to truly felicitate the very best brands. And before we bring to you the point that we'll be unveiling the Economic Times Best Brands Coffee Table Book 2020, we have a very special address by none other than actor and model Diana Penty. You know her very well for her acts in Cocktail, Happy Bhag Jayegi, Lucknow Central, Parmanu, The Story of Pokhran. Let's get to hear what she's got to say.
Hi everyone. I hope you all are safe and healthy in these very uncertain times. It's my privilege and my pleasure to share with you today my experience, my thoughts on how I, as a consumer, perceive a brand. Mankind's first biggest calamity, World War I, or the Great War, started with smoking barrels of guns fired in August during 1914. There was an even bigger catastrophe to follow between 1939 and 1945, and now in 2020, humankind is facing its steepest ever challenge for survival in the form of a zoonotic virus, officially known as SARS-CoV-2, or what we know as COVID-19. The pandemic is considered the most crucial global health calamity of the century and the greatest challenge that humankind has faced since World War II. As the human race plumbs ever darker depths brought on by the pandemic, businesses across civilizations and countries are uncertain of their future due to the immediate threats from the resultant economic depression. At a time like this, businesses from different civilizations can and should draw inspiration from each other and form a united front to beat this deadly disease. I believe such challenging times are a test of brands and the connections they have forged with society over the years. When we meet someone in real life, we interact with them to get to know them better, right? We listen to their stories, their ideas, their opinions, their beliefs. We try to extract their story and to tell our own, or some of it at least. The aim is to connect, to find a kindred spirit with some similar likes, dislikes, form a sense of friendship or romance, or even a heady combination of both. In business, the rules don't really change. Expressing your story is an important part of building your brand. It helps to outline how individuals view you and empowers consumers to build a connection with you and your brand. Do it right, and you'll put the building blocks in place to allow you to create a bright future for your brand, one that consumers buy from purely because they love what you do, what you stand for, and the stories you share. It's a crazy world we live in right now. In the year gone by, we have seen disruptors, influencers, flawless email marketing campaigns, shocking video content, and moonshot marketing plans that created a lasting impact on customers. Brand Stories gave us practical advice on how you can integrate comparable ideas into your own brand strategies in the years to come. In short, your brand is the way your consumer perceives you. It's rightly said, your premium brand had better be delivering something special, or it's not going to get the business, by Warren Buffett. Brands are a dime a dozen. No matter what you sell, there is somebody else out there selling the exact same thing or something similar in today's buzzing brand landscape, littered with a glut of new brands across categories that are making the news. The truth is, no matter how unique your products or services are, you will always have stiff competition. Considering how crowded the landscape is in every industry, the question is, how do you stand out in a crowded marketplace? Being successful in business means you need a brand that stands up against the competition as well as stands out from the crowd. Thus, as Jeff Bezos mentioned, your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. How true is that? However, brands are also trying to navigate changing market dynamics to emerge stronger than ever before. Given this, there are some brands that have always stood a few steps ahead, or there are brands that are making their way to standing apart from the madding crowd. Their products are perceived to be better and complete value for money, and they have built admirable connections with consumers. Their stores are everywhere, and we feel familiar with these brands and enjoy buying their products. These are generally the companies that have perfected their brand identity and identified the most profitable areas of their business, successfully touching lives in the process. I'm sure we all know many such brands. I must say, it is critical to be aware of your brand experience and have a plan to create the brand experience that you want to have. A good brand doesn't just happen. It is a well thought out and strategic plan. Great brands aren't just recognized and trusted, they're loved. And brands that stay active at this time and connect with the customer may not benefit from the activity immediately, but they will be rewarded in spades one day. So, without further ado, let's dive in and take a look at the stories of leading brands in India so you can glean key takeaways that you can apply to your brand in the years to come.
Thank you so very much, Diana. How very well said that these challenging times are indeed a test for various brands, and it's the brands that truly connect their consumers. It's the brands that we are really acknowledging today. Brands have done something out of the box. Brands that have made that emotional connect. Brands that have stayed with their consumers. That is all this evening is going to be about. And we will now be unveiling the Economic Times Best Brands Coffee Table Book 2020, post which we will be felicitating the brands that have really created these very successful stories around their products, their services, and of course, made that perfect connect with their consumers. So may I please request Diana Penty to do the honors.
Hi everyone. I wish I were addressing you all in person, but the dramatic spread of COVID-19 has disrupted lives, livelihoods, communities, and businesses worldwide. Today, we are witnessing a major shift in the balance of power between companies and their stakeholders that all companies face. Dwindling resources, income disparity, shareholder activism, enhanced by a technology and social media that level the information playing field, has increased stakeholders' demands and expectations. Even as our lives are upended, we live in an era of diminishing trust and increased expectations, and progressive companies must redefine their engagement models with the society. It can no longer be business as usual. In a world of overstimulation and an abundance of choice, brands act as a mental shortcut that enable people to make decisions quickly and intuitively. To play that role, brands need to create an unconscious mental network in people's minds, a network of memories, experiences, emotions, feelings, etc. We are seeing disruptions that are shaking up categories today like never before, and it is this emotive appeal that will help some brands rise above the madding crowd and stand out. The disruptions we are witnessing will have a fundamental impact on the way consumers relate to your brand. It is no longer enough to simply change the media approach. It's time to think more strategically and longer term about the role and saliency of your brand and your business model in the light of market disruptions. By closely scrutinizing myriad indigenous brands, we have identified those brands that have risen above their peers, the Economic Times Best Brands of 2020, and identified what distinguished them from their competitors, making them the most trusted and valued brands for decades. Embrace the fact that we live in uncharted times. Consumers rely more than ever on brands to help them simplify their choices. Brands that leverage this consumer need are more likely to capture growth opportunities. But brands can only do this if they are willing to think differently about the relevance of their brands and leverage new and deeper consumer insights. This would be one of the first steps towards finding opportunities at the heart of these disruptions. The ET Best Brands Initiative has clearly established itself as one of the most sought after listings of leading brands across specific business sectors over the years. Leading brand custodians, in-house marketers, branding gurus, and solution providers have shared their experiences of creating and sustaining compelling brand experiences in their respective sectors. Having successfully covered the brand stories in specific sectors such as BFSI, education, healthcare, FMCG, technology, lifestyle and luxury, entrepreneurs, and many more, the Economic Times now looks to unveil the most comprehensive study of leading brands from across sectors in this umbrella book, the Economic Times Best Brands Coffee Table Book 2020. This coveted book is being launched in the presence of leading marketing gurus, brand custodians, brand owners, and the best business minds in our country. Our research covered factors such as innovativeness, style quotient, uniqueness, how engaging it is, trustworthiness, and its national or global footprint. As Indian companies and brands nurture global ambitions, they face a plethora of choices and challenges. Understanding new markets, new set of customers with their own cultural nuances, functional and emotional needs, new challenges, and newer competitors can be a daunting task for even the most seasoned brand owners. In today's complex and busy world, brand names are everywhere. But most of the time, even though they're accepted as part of the scenery, these brand names don't signify much to those who observe them. Yet, among the white noise of modern marketing, a few brands stand out from the crowd. Admired and packed with meaning, these truly iconic brands inspire passion and fierce loyalty among their customers. They represent the gold standard of branding, and their track record of excellence has seen them gain traction not just in India, but also globally, in the process carving out a distinct identity that resonated with their respective audiences. Let's shine a spotlight on this galaxy of eminent indigenous brands that are going to be recognized for their sustained brilliance. Kicking things off, it's a brand flying the flag high for Indian IT, 3i Infotech.
Hello, I am Padmanabhan Iyer, Managing Director and Global CEO of 3i Infotech, an IT products and services company. 3i Infotech is delighted to be recognized as one of Economic Times Best Brands of 2020 in the technology category. The Economic Times legacy stands tall, and to be recognized by an institution of such stature is indeed an honor for us. This appreciation is an endorsement of our capability to deliver next generation solutions that enhance the market presence of our customers. It also reinforces our commitment to continually reinvent ourselves. Thank you very much, Economic Times, for this motivation.
With a global outlook but a distinctly Indian ethos, our next best brand is Abby's.
I would like to thank the jury members for selecting our brand Abby's as the best brand of the year and honoring us with this award. This is a very proud moment for us as it took us a lot of years of hard work to reach this platform. It was not an easy journey, but luckily we had a team of dedicated employees who have worked really hard to make our brand as one of the most recognizable brands in India. Abby's today delivers more than 100 food products in over 14 categories with products from 7 countries ranging from olive oil to popcorn and much more. I would also like to thank our patrons who believed in us and gave us continuous business, which motivated us to work even harder to give them the best service in our capacity. An award like this really motivates all of us at Abby's to serve even better, even stronger. Thank you so much.
Providing diabetes data and detailed reports at your fingertips to share with your doctor, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for AccuCheck.
I take this opportunity to thank Economic Times for recognizing our brand. It gives an immense pleasure to receive this prestigious recognition of Best Brand Award on behalf of Roche Diabetes Care India for our renowned and #1 brand, AccuCheck. AccuCheck aims to provide integrated, personalized diabetes management with its innovative products and digital solutions. Our vision is to help people with diabetes think less about their daily diabetes routine so that they can get true relief day and night. We have launched multiple educational initiatives to support people with diabetes and right guidance to manage their condition at home during these challenging times of COVID. This recognition confirms the trust that our consumers and customers have in our brand, and AccuCheck, for which we thank them immensely, and which will help us motivate our journey to bring true relief for the people with diabetes everywhere. Thank you very much.
Our next brand are pioneers in cloud backup solution to keep your data safe, protected, and secure for easy access and recovery. Give it up for Ace Data Devices Private Limited.
Thank you, Economic Times, for giving us this recognition to be one of the best brands for 2020. Ace Data for us is a brand which is built up over the years by giving stability, resilience, and hard work to our customers. Our business being in the field of data protection, we protect digital wealth of our customers, and this becomes even more significant for us.
Customer service is the backbone of our business. The continued trust and belief that our customers have shown in us over the years has helped us achieve this milestone.
And with this endorsement from a brand like Economic Times, it really strengthens our belief and keeps us going for the values we stand for. Thank you.
Our next best brand is powering the internet and digital television boom of the many Indians. It's Act Fibernet.
We are honored to be nominated for the Best Brand Award in broadband category by Economic Times. We are the third largest broadband service provider in the country and very proud to have delivered exceptional service and on our brand promise during the pandemic times. We are always ahead of the curve in terms of technology and customer service to serve our customers. In this wonderful initiative, we wish all the best to the Economic Times and all the participants, and wish this initiative will sustain and become a great award category that needs to be aspired by all the participants. Thank you so much.
The next brand has been enabling many in fulfilling their dreams by providing the best loans as per customer needs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Andromeda Sales and Distribution.
Thank you for the ET Best Brand Award 2020. The entire team at Andromeda is quite thrilled to receive the ET Best Brand Award. It has been a 30-year journey built brick by brick, call by call, and customer by customer. Today, we have an extensive network spanning 2,300 employees, 100 plus locations, 200 branches, and more than 4,000 partners. As the lending industry rapidly digitizes, Andromeda has learned to move with the times and align with the latest trends in technology. This constant spirit of learning is one of the core values of our brand. Our massive physical distribution network is now backed by a strong digital footprint, a central technology platform, and extensive use of data and analytics. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of our customers, employees, partners, and shareholders who have supported us through this long and satisfying journey. Thank you once again, ET, for this award.
It's a brand we know all too well and love all too much. Give it up for Artistry.
Hello everyone, I am Ajay Khanna, Chief Marketing Officer at Amway India. It is indeed a very proud moment for all of us at Amway as a premium skincare brand, Artistry, is being recognized as ET Best Brand. As certified by Euromonta, Artistry is India's leading premium skincare brand. It's a brand that has been born out of the love for beauty and healthy well-being, and we are taking endeavors to continuously evolve the brand to deliver personalized beauty solutions that marry the best of nature and best of science. I sincerely thank ET for this prestigious recognition and look forward to many more.
Up next, we have a brand which is fulfilling dreams and changing lives at every step. Give it up for AU Small Finance Bank.
Namaskar, I am Ankur Tripathi. I am Chief Information Officer at AU Bank. It feels great to be accepting this award on behalf of AU Bank. On behalf of our entire team, I would like to express my gratitude to Economic Times for recognizing us as one of the best brands. We look forward to serve our nation with the same zeal and passion. Chalo aage badhe. Thank you.
Our next best brand is playing a crucial role in introducing aluminium as potential alternative to other metals. It's Balco.
Greetings to everyone present. I am Abhijit Pati, CEO and Director of Bharat Aluminium Company. I have been associated with the metal industry from last 30 years. It is a great opportunity to be present here today. I am very delighted that Bharat Aluminium Company has been recognized as best brand by ET. Balco is a very prominent player in aluminium industry and is very determined and sensitive in its approach to resource optimization, energy consumption, emissions, waste utilization, and its overall impact on the local communities, focusing on to the principle of zero harm, zero waste, and zero discharge. We have been very sensitive and we have been one of the prime movers so far as the aluminium industries are concerned, and we want to really grow with India so far as aluminium development and its applications are concerned. We are extremely pleased and honored for these recognitions, and we commit here that this brand will continue to grow and will become more stronger going forward as a responsible brand of aluminium in the country.
The next brand is playing a key role in advancing the world of health by improving medical discovery, diagnostics, and the delivery of care. It's BD India, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Pawan Mocherla, Managing Director for Becton Dickinson in South Asia. One of our core values is we treat each other with respect. I'd like to thank ET Edge Best Brands 2020 for this recognition. Thank you.
The next brand believes their strongest assets are their people, and so our next best brand is Bonfilioli.
We thank ET for awarding this prestigious Best Brand Award to Bonfilioli. It feels great to be recognized for what we do and stand for as a team. It is also a reflection of Bonfilioli's commitment and belief in India and India's growth story. Back in the 90s, we were the first few to set up shop in India, and it was a norm for most European companies to start globalization from China. We believe Bonfilioli receives this award for what we do and deliver every day as much as for how we communicate and respond to all our stakeholders. As we say, 4 hours forward. Thank you.
By the way, I'll have you know we're only just getting started. So stay glued for our next best brand, bringing together 2 storied brands, Canada HSBC Life.
Hi everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Economic Times for conferring us with this prestigious award of being the best brand in 2020. It gives me immense pleasure to accept this award on behalf of our company. As a brand, we have always believed in providing best services to our customer and best value for money to our customers. Since 2008, Canada HSBC OBC Life Insurance has been fulfilling promises of more than 4.5 million customers, and we are still counting. Friends, this year has been a very difficult year for all of us due to COVID-19, but I would like to reiterate the need for life insurance in these difficult times and to consider a strong brand like Canada HSBC Life Insurance for fulfilling your protection needs. Once again, I would like to thank the Economic Times and jury members for giving us this honor. It is support from all of you that we uphold the strong brand of our company, Canada HSBC Life Insurance, and our promise to serve our customers. Once again, thank you and wishing everyone a safe and healthy times ahead.
They play their role in financial inclusion, and they're certainly a big part of this platform. It's cash-free India payment.
Hi, my name is Akash Sena. I'm CEO and co-founder at Cash-free. I'd like to thank Economic Times for this award and recognition. Our mission has always been to build most innovative payment solutions in India to provide a reliable and trusted payment service to Indian businesses. So thanks again to motivate us. I'm sure we'll build more and more such innovative solutions and keep on increasing the bar of payment service in India. Thanks again.
Moving on, our next best brand is here to serve every driver, every motorcyclist, and every industry on earth. It's Castrol.
Hi everyone, I'm Sandeep Sangwan, Managing Director of Castrol India Limited, and we're delighted to be on the Economic Times Best Brands for 2020. And on behalf of the whole team, I'd like to thank you, the Economic Times, for recognizing us. One of the core values at Castrol is keeping our consumers and customers at the heart of everything we do. And at the same time, having respect for all our stakeholders. And that's why, even during this tough year, a recognition of this kind by the Economic Times hugely talks of the trust we've built with our customers and consumers. I'd also like to congratulate all the other brands which are there on the list, and thank you very much, and stay safe and stay well.
Our next best brand is a brand we know all too well. Kavins is up next, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, ET, for the recognition. It's an honor to be amongst the 50 best brands in a list that has few iconic brands. Kevin stands for high-quality dairy beverages that are affordable and exciting. Our success has been centered around the fact that our product quality or offering has been as close to what our customers would like to have or make for themselves. We welcome you to the world of Kevin's to try our offerings that are so tasty, so good.
What can I say for our next brand? They're an omnipresent part of India's tapestry and all our lives. In case you haven't guessed, It's Center Fresh.
Hello everyone, my name is Shankar and along with my team at Perfetti Van Mel, I'm responsible for managing the Center Fresh brand. It's a privilege to be here and to be recognized as ET Best Brand for 2020. The privilege clearly is on account of the repute that this recognition brings with it, and for us it comes at a key moment for the brand as well. In 2019, Center Fresh brand completed 25 years of its existence in India and continues to grow from strength to strength. This in itself is no mean achievement as it highlights the continued relevance of its brand proposition. There are three key pillars for this success and I am stating them in no particular order since they're all equally important. Number one is our brand proposition. Center Fresh, as you know, is a functional chewing gum brand with core promise of fresh breath. This proposition over the years continues to stay relevant, supported by some industry recognized and clutter-breaking communication and exceptional product quality. Number two are our consumers. The trust our consumers have placed on the brand is consistent, and this recognition is further affirmation of the fact. And last but not the least are our people. It's our internal teams at Perfetti Van Mel, along with our creative partners and our media partners, who make the brand what it is today and are constantly working behind the scenes to bring the best quality to consumers. Once again, thank you Economic Times for this honor. And it's a privilege to be recognized as the ET Best Brand for 2020. Thank you.
They're a brand to be reckoned with and can be proud of reaching for the stars. Our next best brand is Cholamandalam MS General Insurance Company Limited.
We at Cholamandalam MS General Insurance are delighted to be recognized as a super brand by Economic Times. It's indeed a special honor to all my colleagues who have earned this recognition by building trust and transparency with our customers and business partners. I'm sure this award and recognition as a super brand will help us foray into new markets, new customer segments, and provides the right impetus to live our brand commitment of pledge to protect. Thanks once again, Economic Times.
The next brand is one whose story began almost 200 years ago. Clarks India is up next, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, ET, for selecting us as one of the finest brands for 2020, best brands for 2020. We really appreciate the criteria which you used while selecting our brand. In terms of trustworthiness, innovativeness, stylish, unique, engaging, heritage, our brand embodies all these criteria. Thank you very much once again. And we in our business, as you know, we are a 200-year-old legacy brand. We really make a lot of emphasis on foot health. Because we believe as an organization, better foot health means better mental health. Under these pandemic conditions, with the well-being being an important thing for everyone, we are going to concentrate and tell our story to all our consumers, how a better foot health enables a person to give up excellent mental health. So our body, especially the foot, contains 25% of our bones, and 18% of joints and 6% of muscles. So it's very, very important for all of us to take care of our foot health. And we will be communicating the story to all our consumers. And being an aspirational brand in India, I'm sure the consumer would respect and accept our brand much more favorable than the other brands. Thank you very much, and thank you for selecting us once again as the best brand for 2020. And we really humbly accept this award. Thank you.
It's time for the largest contract food service company in the world, Compass Group India.
I would like to thank ET for recognizing Compass Group amongst the best brands in 2020. Compass Group is one of the world's leading support and food services provider. More than 5 billion meals in a year and are amongst the largest private employers in the world as well. In India, we serve more than 4 lakh meals a day, operating across 450 plus client locations. We take care of our consumers every day, feed them every day. And this everydayness, this relationship of everydayness that we have with our consumers is what defines the core of our organization, the DNA of our organization. And this everydayness translates into a sense of responsibility in everything we do. Health, nutrition, well-being, and safety, therefore, are very natural outcomes of the services we provide. Inspired by this, we have reimagined the idea of workplace food built on some of these core values. We absolutely love what we do, and we are excited about bringing our products and services and our offerings to more and more consumers. Thank you.
And now we have a global leader in consumer and pharmaceutical flexible packaging, Constantia Flexibles.
Hi, good evening. I'm personally very pleased, and for us at Constantia, it's an honor to be recognized as by ET as India's Best Brands 2020. When I go through the others in the list, definitely we are an August company, and we are extremely proud of that. A little bit about Constantia. We are a global leading packaging company headquartered in Austria. We operate in two segments, pharmaceutical and consumer packaging, and pretty much in the top 5 global packaging companies worldwide. We have a presence in India. For the last, I think, decade and a half, we acquired an Indian packaging company recently, and we have our presence very much through the length and breadth of India. Regarding Constantia, as the tagline says, people, passion, packaging. So that's pretty much the center of our universe, particularly people and passion. We are people who are extremely passionate about packaging. A little bit about sustainability, because that's really the buzzword these days for every company, including packaging companies. So very proud to share with all of you that we have innovated the first in the world monolayer PE laminate, which we have branded as EcoLam. And recently we have set up our brand new plant, which will be dedicated for EcoLam production in India, amongst the world's first fully dedicated plant for recyclable materials. That's a little bit about Constantia and recyclability. At the end, thanks very much for placing the honor and recognizing the work that we do. And I end with the best wishes to the viewers and the ET team for a super successful and safe future. Thank you.
Next is a brand that is bringing a world of flavors to your doorstep. Give it up for Cornetto.
Hi, myself Shobhit Agarwal. I am the director at Green Dot Health Foods Private Limited. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Economic Times for recognizing our company for the Economic Times Best Brands Award for 2020. Our entire team takes great privilege in being nominated for such an award, and we aspire to continue to bring novel food products in line with the current market trends. Thank you everyone once again, and keep snacking.
Thank you. Up next is a global provider of technologies and services that advance and accelerate the development and manufacture of therapeutics. Cytiva.
Hi, thank you. First of all, thank you so much, ET Edge, for giving us this opportunity. Let me introduce myself. I'm Raghvendra Gau Babu. I lead the business for India and South Asia for Cytiva. I've been in the life sciences industry for about almost like 23 years. Basically, a researcher from Indian Institute of Science. Almost held various roles in an organization. Previously, it was GE Healthcare Life Sciences. We've been acquired by Danaher about 2 quarters back. So that's the background. And just to give you the importance of our organization in India, while we've been there from almost a few decades, but our core value has always been how do we support the scientists and the manufacturers with the latest tools and technologies to ensure that they come up with some of the path-breaking, some of the novel drug therapies, not just vaccines, but also the novel biologics, plasma therapy, and small molecules is what we are. So our endeavor has always been to support these initiatives which have been taken up by our esteemed scientists and customers.
Sales enablement is the need of the hour, and our next best brand harnesses this to the hilt. Give it up for Dinave.
Thank you, Iti, in choosing Dinave for the Best Brands 2020 award. I am honored while accepting this recognition on behalf of the countless Dinavites who've put in tireless efforts in helping the company achieve its vision and goal. This year has been challenging for most organizations, and we, leveraging innovation, have tried to maintain business continuity for our customers. As a global sales catalyst, we leverage our services to maintain balance between the buyer and the seller ecosystem. And this year has been no different, even though with the multiple challenges that we've seen around us. In our goal to become the world's largest sales enablement organization, rewards like this go a long way in energizing the system and making us believe that we are on the right track in providing the kind of services that our customers need to enable their sales processes. Thank you once again, Iti, and I would also like to thank all our stakeholders, team members, and customers in helping us achieve these goals. Thank you again.
Our next brand is making home smarter, safer, and truly seamless. Let's hear it for D-Link.
Hello everyone. ET Best Brands is all about customer confidence and business excellence, and we are extremely delighted to receive this prestigious award. D-Link since the past 3 decades has been instrumental in connecting people to the internet, whether it be from their homes or their offices. Even in these tough times of the pandemic today, we are proud that we are able to nurture the work from home culture and help people connect with each other. We would like to thank all our customers for showing that confidence in D-Link and its products, and would like to thank ET for recognizing us and instilling that confidence in us to do much more better, rotating around our core competency, that is innovation. I would like to thank you all once again, and stay home, stay safe.
Now is time for a brand that is helping India to sleep better and dream bigger. Duroflex, ladies and gents.
Hello everyone, this is Smita Murarka. I'm the VP Marketing and E-Commerce for Duroflex, India's leading sleep solution provider. We're very excited to be part of ET Best Brands 2020. Thank you so much for making us part of this coveted list. As a brand, our endeavor has been to really improve and redefine the quality of sleep of Indians. And this year, amidst a pandemic, it's been particularly important for us to continue this journey as a marketing effort. It gives us an immense sense of pride and satisfaction that we've been recognized in this list, and we've been honored to be part of this amazing set of brands. Thank you so much.
Among a galaxy of stars, they hold their own. Give it up for Ebix Cash, our next best brand.
Humbled at the honor of being recognized as the Economic Times Best Brands 2020. While it endorses the vision and the executable strategies of our Chairman and CEO, Mr. Robin Rainer, it also places an enormous amount of responsibility on all of us. Our parent company, Ebix, today is the world's largest insurance exchange, besides being the leading supplier of on-demand software as well as e-commerce solutions across sectors as insurance, healthcare, and finance. In India, through its subsidiary, IBIX Cash, we have established the largest end-to-end financial exchange, conducting GMV in the region of $18 billion through services such as B2C distribution, B2B, digital payment solutions, money transfer services, insurance, travel, corporate and incentive solutions. Our core values are disruption and innovation, meant to create simplified living for consumers, and in doing so, we have become the airport of financial transactions in India. Thank you.
Up next is a bank that is changing the very way banking is imagined, delivered, and experienced, with trust being the key driver. It's Equitas Bank.
ET awards are very, significant for any organization when they are on a marching path towards prosperity or growth. I think for us, this will be a very decisive point for us to move up responsibly, to act as one of those important player inside this small finance bank space. This award can go a long way, and this is a very prestigious award for us to snatch it and then move on from there. Thank you all.
With over 15 lakh customers in over 200 cities in India, Exide Life Insurance is up next, ladies and gentlemen.
We are very pleased that Exide Life Insurance has been listed as one of the best brands of 2020 by the Economic Times. This is the result of the relentless efforts of our advisors and employees and their unwavering commitment in living our brand promise of Lamba Saath, Bharose Ki Baat. As a brand, we do believe in building long-term relationships which are based on trust, and I'd like to dedicate this award to the entire family of Exide Life Insurance. Thank you.
Thank you. I must say that brands such as yourselves play a big role in shaping the India of tomorrow, and the next brand at the vanguard of this change is FlipLearn.
Thank you so much, everyone, for recognizing us at FlipLearn as being worthy to be a part of the ET Best Brands. As the founder of this organization, I think it's been a dream to see that whatever hard work we've been putting in, it not only goes to impact the learners and the teachers and the schools that are connected with us, but also helps us to get recognized in the industry. This is an absolute fantastic achievement for us as an organization, and this is inspiring us to do better every day as we go ahead. Thank you so much, ET, for this amazing motivation.
They're a brand well known by generations of Indians. Our next best brand is Future Generali India Insurance.
Thank you so much for the prestigious ET award. My sincere gratitude to members of the jury for having selected us, for having nominated us, and having finally shortlisted us. This award is testimony to the kind of work our employees put in every single day. We believe we do our best to make insurance simpler, and this award will only help us accelerate our journey towards that end goal. Thank you once again.
Variety might be the spice of life, but they've certainly added spice to our lives. Give it up for Goldie Group.
Akash Goenka, Director, Shubham Goldie Masale Private Limited. Over here at Goldie Group, since past 4 decades, we follow very ethical practices in whatever processes that we do, and we very strictly follow the rules that have been laid out by our promoters in the very beginning. Company never ever loses down on ethics and believes that it is our responsibility towards our all customers and distributors. I, on behalf of Goldie Group, thank the entire Economic Times Group for bestowing upon Goldie the best brands of 2020.
I am Shubham Gupta, Director of Goldie Group. Our brand core value is quality and ethical pricing, which are the key for Goldie's success. Our quality has rewarded us from our customer since 1980, that today Goldie is one of the topmost brand in India. I would really thank Economic Times for selecting us and rewarding us as the best brand of 2020. Thank you.
Myself, Sudeep Goenka, Director, Goldie Group. Out of the three, the core values is relationships, jahan jahan rishte bane. Ever since the foundation of Goldie in 1980 by our promoters, Mr. Som Goenka and Mr. Suren Gupta, they have a 56 years of friendship and 40 years of business together as a legacy, and hence ये रिश्ते ही हमारी जीत है. इसीलिए गोल्डी में ना तो कोई ग्राहक है, ना कोई सप्लायर है, ना कोई कर्मचारी है. हम गोल्डी परिवार हैं, गोल्डी फैमिली, जहाँ जहाँ रिश्ते बनाए. Thank you Economic Times on behalf of Goldie Group for giving us the best brand 2020, and we promise to live by that respect across the world. Thank you.
Moving on, accelerating your business outcomes with comprehensive solutions from edge to cloud. It's Hewlett-Packard Enterprise.
Thank you for this ET Edge Best Brand Award 2020. And on behalf of HPE, I am truly honored to receive it. We had a good integrated marketing mix model, from the innovative print to heavy TV, stylish digital, out of home with engaging content. We did it all, and we covered all the aspects. And it was a great teamwork, all the marketing team, including the sales team. We did a very great teamwork here, and you can see the results. So once again, thank you so much for the recognition, and we are honored. Thank you so much.
Many a brand has decorated our lives and homes with its myriad options, and Home Lane is one such brand. Let's hear it for them, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Shrikant Iyer, and I'm the founder CEO of HomeLane.com. We at HomeLane are deeply honored for being chosen as one of the best brands of 2020 by ET. Thank you so much on behalf of each one of us at HomeLane. One of the core values that drives us is the value of transparency, which we try to imbibe in everything that we do in making the journey of home interiors simpler for all our customers. So really, it gives me great pleasure to accept this honor. I would like to congratulate everyone who made it to this list, and I'd also like to thank the team at ET for putting together such a great event during such unprecedented times. Thanks again.
Up next, from the House of Creativity, Fitness, Sustainability and Community, ladies and gents, it's Hero Reality.
Getting recognized by such a prestigious group bestows upon us the responsibility of delivering great value to all our customers and giving them nothing but the best in our current as well as future projects. Thank you once again, Economic Times, for this honor. Thank you.
Staying home is the wise move for us all. And I'm sure our next best brand will say staying invested is a prudent move too. Let's hear it for ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund.
Hi, my name is Abhijit Shah, and I'm responsible for marketing, digital business and customer experience at ICICI Prudential Asset Management. It's a great honor to be recognized as the best brand by Economic Times for 2020. I would like to thank everybody on behalf of ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund family. So thank you once again, everybody.
The next best brand ensures that the investors get best researched advice and tips while trading. It's IIFL Finance.
I'm humbled in accepting this award, ET Best Brands for IIFL Finance. I thank ET Economic Times and jury for this honor. I accept this on behalf of 18,000 employees who work day and night without missing a beat, even in the COVID times and otherwise. And not only they do hard work, they stick to our core values, which we capture in two words, Seedhi Baat or straight talk. So when we deal with our customers, we are transparent. There are no hidden charges. Any term which is relevant, we explain and try and give the best product. And that is what wins the customer's trust and these brands. Thank you.
Our next brand aims to make life easier for modern, informed women across the globe, focusing on health and wellness, skincare, hair, and we'd like to invite Inknut Digital into the spotlight.
Hello everyone, I'm Chaitanya Nalan, co-founder of Inknut Digital. I'm truly honored to receive the ET Best Brands Award. At Inknut, customer centricity has always been at the core. This is reflected in the authoritative content we create on StyleCraze and BombJunction.com, but also in the customized personal care brands Skincraft and Vedix. I thank ET for recognizing our efforts in creating these high-quality brands. This award belongs to my entire team, whose brilliance and relentless work makes it all happen. Thank you all.
Up next is Incred, the new age financial services platform that leverages technology and data science to make lending quick and easy.
Hi, my name is Prashant Bhosle. I am the Chief Marketing Officer of Incred Finance, India's fastest growing technology-led NBFC. I thank Economic Times Best Brands 2020 for not only inviting us but also to participate in this prestigious event.
Our next brand is iconic in fueling businesses. It's Indian Oil.
We are honored to be chosen as Economic Times Best Brand for 2020 and excited to be recognized for the crucial role that Indian Oil plays in securing energy requirements of India and contributing to national progress at large. At the same time, we also remain forever grateful to our customers for their continuous support and would be happy to share this recognition with them. Such recognitions motivates us to bring out more innovative solutions and services across our business, which are futuristic and environmentally friendly.
Now we have a leading fintech digital solutions provider for the banking and financial sector with a presence across the globe, Infrasoft Tech.
I'm Rajesh Mirjankar, Managing Director and CEO of Infrasoft Tech. It's our absolute pleasure to be receiving the ET Best Brands 2020 award. We are in the area of innovating and increasing the digital quotient of banks with our omnichannel, RegTech, and core banking solutions. We thank our 500 plus clients for their patronage, and we also thank the entrepreneurs for their innovation.
And now we invite a brand which is providing smart, trusted, and secure payment solutions to empower commerce across all channels, in-store, online, and mobile, Ingenico.
For over 15 years, we at Ingenico ePayments India have strived to provide smart, trusted, and secure digital payment solutions to millions of Indian customers, while facilitating financial inclusion and building a digital India. During the pandemic and lockdown, our digital payment solutions have provided a lifeline to keep the wheels of commerce running contactless and safe. Whether it be for buying groceries, medicines, paying school and college bills, bill payments, or even gaming and entertainment. I thank our employees, partners, and merchants for this recognition, as it is a result of their collective efforts to build world-class digital payment solutions and provide it to Indian consumers. This award is really special as it is given by the largest business daily in India, The Economic Times.
Delivering Delivering cost-effective and high-specification mobile devices. Ladies and gents, let's hear it for itel.
Hi. We feel truly honored to be receiving the prestigious ET Best Brand of 2020 award. This reinstates the trust and reliability of itel as a brand, which has always put customer focus as its priority. By bringing in trendy technology and making it accessible and affordable, we attribute this recognition to our esteemed channel partners, our magical employees, and our discerning customers. We have always reposed their faith on us and encourage us to bring in new innovation backed with great value and affordability in the mobile and device ecosystem. We have more than 5 crore customers in just 4 years of our operations in India. And we have empowered our customers by providing next generation technology across the length and breadth of the country. Our robust distribution network, impressive product portfolio, localized marketing communication approach have helped us to connect hinterlands of real India. This is in true sense India getting digitally ready and empowered to realize Atmanirbhar Bharat.
The first and fastest growing electric two-wheelers company in India, our next best brand is Joy e-bike.
Joy e-bike is the electric vehicle offering from God Wizard Group. Today, in this current scenario of environmental degradation, how electric vehicle is important for us, we can realize. So we once again thank ET Edge and the Economic Times to recognize our contribution towards environmental sustainability and our offering of electric vehicle, Joy e-bike. Thank you once again.
Put your hands together for a brand that is treasuring the trust of Indians for years. Life Insurance Corporation of India. And now we invite a brand that is helping us to do a makeover to our homes, Lowe's India.
I am Ankur Mittal, Vice President Technology and Managing Director Lowe's India. I have been with Lowe's for 1.5 years. On behalf of Lowe's India team, I am honored and privileged to receive Best Brand Awards from ET. It is testament of all the work done by Lowe's India team. Thank you so much ET and my team at Lowe's India. At Lowe's, our mission is to build right home improvement products with the right value and services across every channel and community we serve. At Lowe's India, our mission is to become best retail GCC, and in order to achieve that, our associates are working on solving complex business problems, whether it is through technology or data and analytics or by optimizing business processes. At Lowe's India, our aim is to build diverse team with solid expertise and passion for our mission and brand. Lowe's India is committed to do the right things by its associates and communities while we work on solving complex business problems. We also want to ensure we provide best-in-class benefits to our associates during these tough times. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much, ET.
Now we invite one of the best residential and commercial property developers into the spotlight. It's M3M India. Up next is one of the best cashless healthcare providers in India, MediBuddy.
Hi, I am Satish Kannan, CEO of MediBuddy. MediBuddy is one of the largest digital healthcare platform in India. On behalf of our team, I would like to thank ET for honoring us with this award. Our aim at MediBuddy has been to make high quality healthcare accessible to people across the country, and on our platform you can access specialist doctors through a video consultation. You can also get your medicines delivered, and you can also book lab tests for yourself and your family members, and you can access all of these healthcare services through your Android application, iOS application, or through the web platforms. And the idea with which we started out the company was to ensure that good quality healthcare is accessible by everybody across the country. So you can be from the big city or you can be from a very, very small town, but access to healthcare becomes equal through the digital platforms that we have. And during these tough times of COVID, we are able to help millions of people across the country now access good quality doctors through a video consultation. And we're very, very happy and truly honored by this award by ET. And we take this as an encouragement in our journey to continue to make high quality healthcare accessible to 1 billion people across India in the coming years. Thank you.
A brand that is ensuring access to comprehensive quality healthcare services to humans and animals, we doff our hat off to Natural Remedies.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for ET Edge Best Brands 20, considering ET Edge for giving us, to take in the award ceremony of Best Brands 2020. Natural Remedies as an organization is committed to deliver value to our customers. We are an humble organization as an initiative to understand changing needs of customers in their environment. Always we try to learn and tweak our products and solution to add value to our customer to succeed in their business so that we will grow along with them. So therefore, as an organization, customer is of paramount importance in our environment. Thank you once again for ET Edge for keeping Natural Remedies in Best Brand Awards.
Good morning. We would like to express our sincere thanks to ET Edge Best Brand 2020. As an organization, we are happy that we are receiving this award. Organization deeply believes in its vision and values of bringing happiness. So we harness nature, apply science for health and happiness for everyone. And our values are being useful. We want to make sure that whatever happens in our organization adds value to the society, to the environment, to everybody around us, so that our presence as an organization can add value to the society. We are so fortunate that we have a team of very dedicated people who are helping us achieve this vision and values for the organization. Thank you once again, ETH, Best Brand 2020.
Up next, we have an iconic hybrid multi-cloud brand. It's NetApp India.
This is Puneet Gupta, Managing Director, NetApp India. I want to thank ET Best Brands 2020. I'm delighted and honored with the recognition. And on behalf of NetApp, I want to thank all our customers and our partners who have given us unflinching support all this time. In a world full of generalists, NetApp is really a specialist who works with their customers in their cloud-led data journey. And whether it's on-prem or public cloud or private cloud, or really a combination of all of these, no one better than NetApp to integrate, secure, and connect your storage with the network. And it's no surprise that some of the largest banks, telcos, cloud service providers, manufacturing companies, government entities, all work with NetApp and partner with us to take them through their data journey. In the new world where hybrid cloud is going to be the new paradigm, NetApp is uniquely positioned to serve the Indian market and to partner with customers in their data journey. I want to thank ET one more time for this great recognition and honor. Thank you.
Their importance cannot be stated enough at this time, and we're glad to have them as our next best brand. Ladies and gents, It's Newberg Diagnostics.
Hi, I'm Aishwarya, the CEO of Newberg Diagnostics. Thank you, Economic Times, for this honor. I dedicate this award to all my staff, the COVID warriors. During these challenging times, the entire Newberg team has been working relentlessly to serve all the people affected by this pandemic. Thank you, Economic Times, for recognizing our efforts. Congratulations to all the other winners. Stay safe, and I'm sure we'll win this battle very soon.
Our next best brand is committed to bringing a revolutionary experience in technology through a wide range of commercial products. Ladies and gents, it's NextGo.
Thank you, ET, for this recognition. We are delighted to be recognized as the best brand in consumer laptop category this year. Thank you very much.
Up next, we have a forerunner in the digital lending platform and a plethora of enterprise solutions curated for the financial domain. Give it up for Novak Technologies.
It's a huge honor for Novak to be recognized as one of the Economic Times best brands of 2020. We are a cloud solutions and digital transformation company with a strong domain knowledge of the BFSI industry. Our solutions enable entities in BFSI segment to redefine business technology models. We enable entities to carry out the digital transformation of various business segments. Our employees and customers' trust have helped us in reaching what we are today. We thank Economic Times for this wonderful initiative to recognize brands across various industries via Best Brands Awards.
Next brand on our list is very passionate about democratizing and helping to accelerate universal wellness. Let's hear it for Nutorals.
Thank you, Economic Times, for recognizing Nutorals. This goes a long way in acknowledging the effort of Team Nutorals and hundreds of farmers for doing things the right way.
Our vision is to be the preferred cheese and nutrition company for consumers.
Nutorals is committed to deliver protein and micronutrients in a modern, aspirational and concentrated manner for healthy living while conducting responsible manufacturing practices, providing sustainable livelihood to producers and delivering animal welfare. Thank you.
Moving on, we welcome the world's leading brand of vitamin, mineral and dietary supplements, Nutrilite.
Hello everyone, I am Ajay Khanna, Chief Marketing Officer at Amway India. We at Amway India are extremely honored and delighted as our leading health supplements brand Nutrilite gets recognized at ET Best Brands 2020. Nutrilite combines the best of nature with the best of science to produce plant-based supplements. Nutrilite traces ingredients from the organic seeds planted in the fields to the final supplement. In fact, our seed to supplement philosophy is one of our key brand pillars that help people live better, healthier lives. We would like to thank all our Amway direct sellers, employees and customers who have been part of this wonderful journey. Thanks for making us so successful and look forward to many more such prestigious awards.
They've contributed more than their fair share to the city's landscape, and I'm pleased to present Omax Chalk to you, our next best brand of 2020.
Thank you, Economic Times, for recognizing us as the best brand 2020 for our project called Omax Chalk in Chandni Chowk. I'm really happy that it's getting recognized by a lot of platforms, and platform like Economic Times is one of the best. So I'm really glad to receive this honor from you guys. Omax Chalk is going to be one of the best projects in the times to come in terms of everything. Best in terms of the footfall, the architecture and design we're going to make there. In terms of the facilities and amenities, it's going to be there for all the shoppers. And a true mix of old time culture with present infrastructure and present technology. So, and also we are making the largest food court there. So waiting for that to open so that all of us can have and enjoy the taste of the whole country. Thank you so much again.
Now we switch to smart with Orient Electric, India's #1 manufacturer of ceiling fans, home appliances, lighting, and switchgear.
Thank you, Economic Times, for considering us worthy of the award ET Best Brands 2020 for the year. It's a great honor for us to receive this award. It puts us in a position of responsibility to continue to deliver the best products to our customers. I can assure you that Orient Electric will continue to strive to deliver the best products and services to the customers. And I want to once again say thanks to ET for considering us worthy of this honor. Thank you very much, ET.
Up next, we have in our midst Oryx India, a leading corporate car leasing company providing innovative leasing solutions.
Thank you, Economic Times ETH, for choosing Oryx India as one of the best brands in the country in the transportation sector. Being in the 25th year of our existence, it makes us feel even special receiving this award from you, from a brand like Economic Times. As an organization, we've always believed, being in the service space, customer is first. So customer centricity is the core value that drives the organization. And then the various teams within the organization align themselves to meet this goal. I personally felt that we've done a great job at doing what we are, making a mark in the space that we operate in, but getting recognized by a brand like yourself validates that even more. And I'm sure this will encourage our teams to do even better than what they've been doing in the past. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Next is a brand who during this crisis continued to be committed to their clients' business while putting the safety of patients, client partners and employees at the heart of everything they did. Ladies and gentlemen, Parexel.
Hello everyone. I am Sanjay Vyas, Senior Vice President and Managing Director of Parexel India. On behalf of my Parexel colleagues around the world, I would like to thank Economic Times for this wonderful recognition. We feel extremely proud and privileged to be receiving the Economic Times Best Brands 2020 award in the healthcare space, which is an acknowledgement of the strong trust shown by our sponsors of being a leading clinical research organization globally and in India. And this has been possible because of our people and their strong commitment and focus on patient centricity. Parexel being a leading clinical research organization, we are in the business of improving the world's health by providing a suite of services that helps pharmaceutical companies globally transform scientific discoveries into new treatments for patients. So thank you once again with heart for this brilliant recognition to Parexel for standing as a strong and committed brand in the healthcare market.
And they're our next best brand. It's Philips Personal Care.
Hi everyone. I am Gulbahar Taurani, Vice President, Personal Health Philips. Thank you Economic Times for recognizing us as one of the best brands for the personal care business. At Philips, we believe in creating innovations which matter to the consumers, and our personal care business is one of the best examples of that. Being pioneer is not easy, and getting recognized as the best brand by ET is really engaging, humbling, as well as encouraging at the same time. Heartfelt thank you to the jury and ETH for this recognition. From the entire Personal Health Philips team, we can only promise that this is just the beginning. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
They play their role in nation building and they're certainly a big part of our lives. It's PNB MetLife.
Hi everyone. This is Ashish Srivastava from PNB MetLife. First of all, I am grateful to Economic Times and this jury to recognize PNB MetLife as one of the best brands in India. This is the second occasion when PNB MetLife has been recognized as one of the best brands by Economic Times. I would like to take this opportunity to dedicate this award to the customers, distributors, and employees of PNB MetLife who stood with us and have helped us succeed. We at PNB MetLife are driven by our passion for customer service, and we would like to stand with our customers along their life journey through what we call Circle of Life. No wonder our tagline says, "Milkar life आगे बढ़ाएं." This award will only help us, encourage us to do better. I'm really honored to be here today to receive this award on behalf of the PNB MetLife family. Thank you all. Stay safe.
With a presence in over 10 million households across India and abroad, our next best brand is a kitchen appliances leader. Give it up for Preeti Kitchen Appliances.
I want to thank ET for choosing Preeti Kitchen Appliances as one of the best brands for the year 2020. Preeti is a heritage brand with a rich legacy of over 40 plus years, winning the hearts of over 10 million consumers every day. At Preeti, we are focused in delivering a winning consumer experience through best-in-class quality of products, a strong, real, on-time customer support, and meaningful innovations which are backed with strong consumer insights. We help homemakers be their best in the kitchens. I want to thank all my consumers and my team for a wonderful journey so far and look forward to exciting years ahead. Thank you.
As an Indian innovator leaving footprints across the world, it's time to warmly welcome the next best brand of 2020, Puzzolana Group.
As part of the Puzzolana family, I would like to thank Economic Times for recognizing us as the best brand in construction and mining equipment for the year 2020. At Puzzolana, we've always focused on being Atmanirbhar, a Make in India company, and focused on Indian-made technologies. Our focus going forward is to build new age technologies, especially in the space of dust-free mining, manufactured sand, e-recycling, waste recycling, and new age metallurgy that can be products not just for India but the global consumer. We again thank ET for this great honor and look forward to serving India better. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Up next is one of the leading general insurance companies of India. Put your hands together for Reliance General Insurance.
Hello everyone, I am Anand Singhi from Reliance General Insurance. I would like to take this opportunity to thank ET Edge for felicitating us with the Best Brand of the Year award. This award is really special to us, and especially during these unprecedented times where we had to fast track a lot of digital adoption across the value chain to be able to serve our customers and partners really well. And the pure reason behind it was to be able to live to our philosophy, our brand philosophy of Live Smart. This award is an outcome of super entrepreneurial efforts of each and every employee in Reliance General Insurance and the extraordinary efforts and the extraordinary support which we get from our partners as well as all the customers. I would like to thank ETH once again and congratulate each and every resource in Reliance General Insurance. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Up next is a brand with a majority of retail shops operated by ex-army men or their dependents. Give it up for Safal.
Hello, I am Pradipta Kumar Sahu, Business Head for Safal Mother Dairy. Thanks Economic Times for recognizing our efforts, Mother Dairies and Safal's efforts, and recognizing our brand as the best brand for the year 2020 in the country. This is indeed a true recognition of the unstinted trust reposed by millions of farmers and consumers of the country. Safal is a flagship brand of Mother Dairy, which is a company, fully owned company of National Dairy Development Board, ANAD. Our heritage is linked to the cooperative movement, the white revolution in the country. Safal has been the pioneer in developing frozen vegetables category in the country, starting with frozen peas. And as we went along, we have developed large number of products in this particular category. Safal has been consistently maintaining innovations and maintaining the leadership position in the space of the minds of the consumers. As we speak today, Safal has got complete range of frozen vegetables, frozen snacks, and with a market footprint for both India and abroad. Indeed, Safal has of late gained top of the mind share of the consumers, and Safal has got the distinction of being the number one in rolling out modern retail format stores of fresh fruits and vegetables in the capital 30 years before. And even today, we enjoy the leadership position by engaging lakhs of consumers in Delhi NCR. Thank you very much.
From home to heart and making its way into all our hearts, Salarpuria Sattva Group is our next best brand.
Hello everyone, I'm Vijay Agarwal, Managing Director of Salarpuria Sattva Group. Today, I feel honored that we have been chosen for the Economic Times Best Brand 2020 award. It's indeed a prestigious honor. Salarpuria Sattva has been built over 3 decades on the principles of innovation, excellence and trust. We have always believed in delivering to the highest quality standards, and this award is a reflection of the faith our customers, partners, stakeholders and employees have in us. Thank you once again.
Trusted by millions, our next best brand is the banker to Indians everywhere. It's SBI Life Insurance.
We thank Economic Times for honoring SBI Life as one of the best brands in this country. SBI Life is driven by customer first approach, and we place a lot of emphasis in providing the best customers experience to our customers. The trust bestowed by millions of families is the testimony of our work in this field. We strive to provide insurance solutions to all with our extensive presence in this country. Once again, on behalf of SBI Life, we would like to thank Economic Times for providing us with this honor.
In this digital world, the next best brand is ensuring we never run out of data storage. It's Seagate Technology.
Hello everyone, this is Samir Bhatia, Director APAC at Seagate Technologies. It's a great honor to receive the 80 Best Brands of 2020 award through the virtual platform this year. Firstly, I would like to thank the jury at ET, my India team, our distributors, channel partners, and most importantly, our customers, for whom Seagate is the preferred and reliable choice for all their data storage needs. Your trust inspires us to keep raising the bar in quality and customer satisfaction. Thank you once again and stay safe.
And now a leader in prestige omni retail, I'm pleased to present Sephora to you, our next best brand of 2020.
And I would like to thank ET Edge and the Best Brands 2020 for honoring Sephora as the best brand for 2020. As you all know, Sephora is the world's largest beauty retailer, and it has an amazing beauty collection, and especially in India, we have more than 95 brands inside the store. And it covers the gamut of activities across makeup, skincare, hair care, bath and body, accessories. Sephora is famous for its experience. So it's a great place to experience the brands. It's a great place to learn new tricks in makeup, skincare and hair care. And also it has a fantastic and vibrant culture which celebrates the entire festivities of India at the store. We look forward to you all coming to the store and enjoying the experience, and also visiting us online at sephora.now.com.
Now I invite a leading global developer of electric power transmission infrastructure and leading electric utility solutions provider, Sterlite Power.
On behalf of the Sterlite Power family, we are absolutely delighted to be conferred this great honor as ET Best Brands 2020. Thank you very much, Economic Times, for giving us this great honor. Sterlite Power started its journey in 2016 with the mission to bring power to the last underserved household in the world. Today in 2020, there are about 2 billion people in the world who don't have access to reliable, uninterrupted power. At the same time, we have a very deep challenge in front of us of climate change. And how do we solve this problem of 2 billion people and 2 degrees, limiting climate to global warming to 2 degrees? Sterlite's core purpose is focused on solving this very challenge. We believe that by building more and more green and renewable sources of power, Sterlite Power can play a very important role in evacuating that power and providing green energy to 2 billion people around the world. With this mission, we have started our job in 2 countries, India and Brazil. And in time to come, we would like to take this beyond. Such recognition is very, very important to keep motivating our 900 strong people across multiple countries who work day and night towards this core purpose. So once again, we'd like to thank Economic Times for conferring this award to us. Thank you very much.
Up next is Tata AIA Life Insurance, ensuring that you are secure to face any type of problem in life.
Hello everyone, it's an absolute honor to be selected as one of the best brands in the nation by the Economic Times, a foremost authority in the world of business. Our heartfelt thanks to ET and the jury for this recognition. This award is an affirmation that Tata AIA Life is taking forward the rich legacy of serving society of the Tata Group and AIA. As a life insurer, we are committed to protecting aspirations of our consumers in all circumstances, especially in these unprecedented times. This award reinforces the trust that our consumers, partners, agents and employees have placed in us. At Tata AIA, we believe that a community is not just another stakeholder, but in fact it is the very reason of our existence. Thank you all.
With an ever-evolving range of solutions to rapidly respond to the changing requirements of the market, we have Tata Kosh next.
Greetings to all of you. From behalf of Tata Steel and Tata Kosh, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Economic Times for recognizing Tata Kosh as the best brand. We in our family of brands, Tata Kosh is the latest entrance, launched in 2017, and it focuses on the galvanized plain steel market, basically for the rural consumables. This is a brand which has done 600 crores last year. I would take this opportunity to for a special thanks because this is the first award for Tata Kosh. It will go a long way in basically motivating the teams to do further for the consumers in this space. Thank you.
Moving on to the next brand, we have India's largest online higher education company. Ladies and gents, Upgrad.
Hello, this is Arjun Mohan. I am the CEO of Upgrad. Upgrad is the largest higher ed online company in the country. We have been focused in upskilling Indian population, and our stated objective has always been to stand for affordability and accessibility, hence helping large swaths of our youth educate themselves and upskill themselves. We're very happy today and thank ET Best Brands 2020 for giving us this award. It's once more a testimony to the fact that what we believe in, that's upskilling the country, is what's the real need of the army.
Thank you very much. Thanks for this award, ET, for choosing us in the Best Education Brand 2020 award. I think for us, it's very important that we continue doing what we are doing and helping our learners meet the final objective. And as long as we are doing good for the learners, the overall sort of brand will continue to grow. Thank you very much.
Hi everybody, this is Falgun Gombali and I'm one of the co-founders of Upgrad. First of all, it's a privilege to be receiving the award of the ET Best Brand in Education for 2020. And we at Upgrad will continue to strive to innovate and bring new products and value propositions to our learners to help them achieve their learning and career outcomes.
I'm sure we can all agree that health is wealth, and our next brand is ensuring health and taste in every bite. Let's hear it for Yoga Bar. And finally, it's a brand that's avowedly Indian, Zen Educational Technologies.
Thank you, Economic Times, for recognizing Zen Educational Technologies as one of the best brands of 2020. It's an immense privilege and honor. Myself, Samir Haridas, founder and CEO of Zen Educational Technologies. At the core philosophy of Zen, we are bringing up world-class innovative products. We have introduced the augmented reality and virtual reality of technologies for K-12 education. Economic Times' recognition is testimony to this fact. This award goes to every stakeholder of Zen who has been part of this amazing journey. Thank you everyone, and thank you once again, Economic Times.
Well, we now come to the end of a very exciting day. It was an absolute pleasure being part of this interesting initiative by the Economic Times. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you so very much, Diana. Like you very rightly said, exciting times ahead as we felicitate one after the other best brands right here on this very platform. We'd also like to felicitate Groviva, a brand that supports growth and development in children aged 2 to 12 years, ensuring our upcoming generation gets the right nutrition. Let's have some virtual applauses for Groviva.
Hello everyone, I am Ravi Vaidyanathan, Vice President Signutra. At Signutra, we understand that nutrition science is common across the globe, but nutrition needs are specific to each country. Groviva, our premium child nutrition supplement, is made to support the wholesome growth and development of children in their growing age. And I'm very happy today to see that Economic Times Group has recognized our efforts in this endeavor and has made Groviva the best brand for the year 2020. I thank everyone who has been part of this amazing journey and has made it what it is today. Thank you all.
Our best wishes to the Economic Times best brand. Let's also acknowledge and wish the very best to our next brand, Tops, a brand which is very well known for its quality of food products and the flavors it brings to life. Tops, quality foods. Here's wishing many, many congratulations to the Economic Times best brands.
Well, we now come to the end of a very exciting day. It was an absolute pleasure being part of this interesting initiative by the Economic Times. Take care and stay safe.